Oliver Glasser there speaking ahead of his side's visit to Newcastle here tonight live on Talksport 2. It's worth remembering, Danny, obviously Crystal Palace were 2-0 up at the weekend, so they're clearly doing some things right.
They started very, very well, and then for whatever reason, as Man City came back into it, they're a very good team. They've got some very good players. You know, that might be one of the reasons, but they almost just fell apart a little bit. You know, and you can't do that away from home. I know their record is very, very good, but like I said, that there is part of you that starts to think, end of the season is coming, FA Cup semi-final, is their focus more towards that? And you've only got to come off it by 5%. It's not a huge drop-off, it's just not quite make that extra run, not quite make that extra tackle, not quite close down somebody, and you get picked apart very, very quickly at this level.
And for Newcastle, obviously that League Cup win, you know, in some ways you could have forgiven them putting the queue on the right, but the feeling here and the noise here at the weekend was incredible. It wasn't one of hope, it was one of expectation that they expect to win games, and it looks like they're destined for another Champions League campaign. Yeah,
which would be great because they've had a taste of it, you know, and it's not easy. You know, we struggled in the first year that I was in it, you know, at Leeds. I think we got to semi-final, and I think at one stage, just before Christmas, we couldn't win a game in the league, you know, and that's why Brian Kidd was brought in, you know, as a coach to give us some help and experience in having to deal with big games midweek, and I'm talking really big, you know, bigger than you've ever played in before, and then coming back down to earth, your bread and butter of the Premier League. That's not easy. It's difficult to get your head around sometimes. You know, you go to the Bernabeu, and then you go into Bournemouth. That's not being disrespectful, it's just a fact. It's hard, it's difficult to deal with. So yeah, I think they'll be incredibly more experienced for that. Players, managers, staff, everybody around the ground. And if they get back in it, well, for these fans, what another magnificent set of journeys they'll have. Different format now, of course, from when they were last in it as well. So yeah, I mean, Newcastle fans could be travelling all over Europe again.
They could well be. A win tonight, they go 5 points clear of 6th place Chelsea. They've got quite a tough run in, actually, Newcastle. They go to Aston Villa at the weekend, Ipswich, Brighton, Chelsea, Arsenal and Everton all to come. So it's not a foregone conclusion, whatever the result tonight, but no doubting 3 points would be of a help. They won't be happy, the Newcastle fans, in one respect, because I think Crystal Palace have won the toss here and they've elected to swap ends, which means Newcastle will be attacking the Gallowgate end here in the first half. Pope in goal for Newcastle, Trippier, Sherburn and Livramento at the back, Guimaraes, Tonali and Joe Linton across the middle, Barnes, Isak and Murphy in the front three, and for the visitors, Dean Henderson in goal, Richards, Lacroix and Gurhey at the back, Munoz, Lerma, Hughes and Mitchell across the middle with Sarr and Eze alongside Jean-Philippe Mateta, Dubravka, Wilson, Gordon, Targett, Kraft, Asula, Willock, Longstaff and Miley on the Newcastle bench. For Palace, Turner and Ketia, Franca, Klein, Kamada, Wharton, Essa, Chilwell and Aveni make up the bench, and our referee in the middle, Darren England. VAR tonight, Craig Pawson. It is Premier League football live and exclusive here on Talksport 2 tonight. Over on Talksport right now, all the build-up, Real Madrid against Arsenal, second leg of the Champions League quarter-final. Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, our team there. Tomorrow it's a Europa League double bill as Manchester United take on Lyon live on Talksport and Frankfurt take on Tottenham live on Talksport 2. We're underway. Newcastle going from left to right. They're black and white stripes, and it's the traditional red and blue of Palace as they defend the Gallowgate end away down to our right as Murphy on the attack instantly gets into the area, puts in a lovely ball, and it's just headed away at the far post there, and it needed to be headed away by Richards, and an early corner inside the opening 20 seconds for Newcastle.
So close to a tap-in for Joel Linton. Great ball to the far post. Joel Linton had just drifted into the box at the far post, round about level with the post, sticks his left foot out, thinks he's just going to get a tap-in as it almost would have to hit his foot. And he's very, very unlucky. There's a slight, just misses it, and then the touch goes out for a corner.
It does. Corner going to be swung in there. The Gallowgate end looking on here at St James's Park. Another sellout crowd here as Newcastle looking for the perfect start. Float one in towards Isak. It's headed away by Sarr. Falls edge of the box. Tonali put the cross in, but it's partially cleared, and now Palace will look to try and break deep inside their own half. Mitchell is dispossessed by Fabian Schär, and it's out for a throw into Crystal Palace. But a lively old start from Newcastle here at St James's Park, and Palace I think will have been expecting to have to maybe weather a bit of storm in the opening 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, but it's surprising how often that doesn't happen, Mark. You know, how many games have you seen where you're thinking this team's going to be right at it, put the opposition under pressure, and then all they do is spend 10 minutes passing the ball around at the back, and they almost let teams off the hook. You know, when I played for Steve McLaren, Steve Rand obviously was one of the coaches as well. He used to say to the two fullbacks, myself and Frank Quadru, go and do something that will get the crowd on their feet in the first 5 or 10 minutes. Have a ridiculously long shot. Go and smash somebody. You know, just go and do something to get the energy into the stadium and get everybody going. And that was first 5 minutes. That's all you're thinking about. You know, do something. I think so often, more often than not, in this day and age, it's pass around the back, too cautious.
Tonali just sweeps up after there was almost an interception from Ismail Assar over on that far side. Newcastle on halfway. Looking with Tonali. He had a bit of an ankle issue at the weekend. He had treatment for that during the game a couple of times, but Jason Tindall said he was fine and he's good to go tonight. An unchanged Newcastle side here as Dan Burn has it at the back. And they'll play it now to Bruno Guimaraes, who's looking for a switch. Trippier's out wide on the right. He'll get it now. Over the halfway line he goes. Murphy takes it away from him, then tries to whip one down the touchline. It wasn't quite on. And it's dealt with, and Palace will have a throw-in down below as Jason Tindall looking on. Oliver Glasner looking on just a couple of metres away to his left-hand side. It's 0-0 early stages here. 3 gone. Live on Talksport 2.
I know it enhances his tan a little bit, but a white top's always a little bit brave, isn't it? I'm just thinking that's getting coffee down it, or juice out of one of the bottles, or a ball stain. Something's going to happen to it.
Yeah, possibly. Here's Will Hughes, just signed a new 2-year contract, and he gets the ball away now, and a chance for Lerma to bring Palace over the halfway line. And they'll have it. Their fans amassed right up away to our left. It's full up there as well. Credit to them making the long journey here on a Wednesday night. A game in hand, of course, for both these two as Hughes gives it away. And there's an early shot there from Schur from just over the halfway line. He was trying to catch there Dean Henderson off his line. I didn't quite get hold of it.
Well, he put his hand up to Isak. I'm not sure if he overhit the pass or whether he attempted. It wasn't quite hard enough for a shot, but it was way too hard for a pass. I'm not sure if he just got it completely wrong. But the fact that he put his hand up to Isak, I just wonder if it was meant to be whipped into him.
Yeah, well, a little bit more on it, and Henderson might have been in trouble. He's got a fluorescent green goalkeeping strip on. Away to our left, Nick Pope is a more traditional goalkeeping green. It is 0-0 here. Don't forget, Arsenal's second leg with Real Madrid is over on Talksport tonight. As the ball played forward, will bounce towards Livramento, but he's beaten to it. And now Sarr will play it forward. Here's Jean-Philippe Mateta now. He brings it forward into the final third. He's looking for options. He's got them out wide on the right. Chance now to put the cross in from Sarr. Whips in a lovely ball, but too close to the keeper in the end. There were chances, and there were plenty of Palace players forward.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Get the ball out wide, get it in the box. You know, people think that's old school, it's direct. No, it's good football. Too much, you know, playing around, going nowhere, going backwards, all those types of things. You don't need that half the time. The idea is to score goals, you know, and you do that by getting the ball into the box quickly. That doesn't mean humping it from 70 yards away. Good passes into the box at any stage are always good.
Yeah, certainly are. They've scored the second most goals from set pieces, Crystal Palace, in the Premier League. Newcastle have it on halfway. 5 gone here, 0-0. Mark Wilson with a former Leeds, England, Manchester City defender Danny Mills. There's a ball with Dan Burn, who gets it out wide on the left-hand side. Look to work it towards the edge of the box, and it's cleared away comfortably, but given straight back to Newcastle. And here's Joe Linton. Lays it back to Dan Burn. He gets it away to Fabian Schur, who is looking for Trippier wide on the right, just in front of us here. Great vantage point here at St James's Park as the ball with Tonali. Oh, that's a risky pass from Trippier. Dan Burn will just head it away towards Murphy. Mitchell, a hand in the back. Ball will fall to Bruno Guimaraes. Back to Joe Linton. Finds Tonali. Tried to whip in a pass there towards Isak, but it's well dealt with. And Palace again will look to break. Schur with a strong challenge there on Jean-Philippe Mateta. Referee's given a free kick. Fabian Schur saying, what on earth was that for? Mateta's down holding the back of his head.
It's a foul. He knew exactly what he was doing. It was a low ball in. It was always going to be very, very difficult for him to win it. But he knew full well that he could shoulder barge him, you know, put a bit of pressure on. Not said it's right. That's what happened. That's what I would have done. You know, he's wearing headgear. Rightly or wrongly, you know, you're going to try and distract him as much as you possibly can and let him know that he's going to be in a physical battle.
Here now is Gurhey tries to feed it forward. He'll find Eze on the edge of the area. Tried to feed it into Sarr. Cleared away. Lerma tidies up. Finds Will Hughes. He gets it away to Mitchell, who's been an ever-present for Palace during this Premier League campaign. Eze on the turn. Trippier's in there, biting, gets it back. Bruno Guimaraes, if he looks up, we'll see Murphy. He's found Murphy. Murphy now racing into the box. Barnes waiting, pulls it back to Isak. Isak, great save from Henderson. One-handed down low to his left, falls to Joe Linton. Back to Bruno Guimaraes. Fired the pass at Livramento, and Palace will break, but that was a huge opportunity for Alexander Isak, and Henderson kept him out with a wonderful save, and now Palace are up the other end on the attack. Ball in towards Mateta, and it's cleared away by Schur, and out over on the far side. What a break from both sides.
Oh, it's fantastic. It was a magnificent touch from Murphy. He got the ball out of his feet. It was a really good touch. He didn't try and control it dead. He knocked it 10, 15 yards ahead of him. That gave him the opportunity to get his head up. I thought the chance had gone. I thought he was maybe going to go in a little bit narrower and have a shot himself. Great vision. Pulled it back to Isak on the edge of the box. Really good shot and a smart save down to his left-hand side from Henderson. And then the breakaway. Palace straight up the other end. Cross, Dan Burn has to put it out for a corner. Sorry, Schur has to put it out for a corner.
Yeah, this corner's going to be whipped in as well here from the far side. It's going to be swung in towards the 6-yard box, and a header on it from the defender there, Chris Richards, and it's over the top, harmlessly behind for a goal kick. So 8 gone here, 0-0, but opportunities at both ends.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity from the corner as well. Richards has a free header. In all honesty, he's struggling a little bit. He's leaning backwards. He's having to really sort of arch his neck. He probably looks a lot taller than he is, with that haircut. But yeah, it was a difficult one for him. Couldn't quite get over top of it.
No, puts it over the top, but then wins the challenge on halfway with Joe Linton, who then wins the second ball. Ball will break to Tonali, finds Bruno Guimaraes. He lays it back to Trippier. Oh, now then, Lerma has just had a bit of a bite at Bruno Guimaraes there, who looked at the referee appealingly. Referee just waved it away, and forward come Newcastle again. Another crossfield pass from Tonali. Side foot pass back to Murphy in towards Isak, and it shaves the top of the crossbar, the header, and it goes behind. Trippier laid the ball back to Murphy, a beautiful cross, and Isak's header inches away from giving Newcastle the lead.
Really good football. And again, football, I think, is started to change a little bit this season. Teams are being a little bit more direct. It's a fabulous crossfield ball out to Trippier. Really nice little touch back to Murphy, who whips it in first time. Isak can't quite get over top of it. He'll be disappointed. He thinks he should probably he knows he should probably hit the target, at least make the goalkeeper make a save.
Yeah, 20 Premier League goals for him, plus a few cup goals, including that one at Wembley that wrapped up the victory in the Carabao Cup final over Liverpool. Henderson clears it long over the halfway line. Mateta will flick the ball on. It's well dealt with by Dan Burn, but they miscontrol it, Palace, in the midfield when they had the chance to win it back, but Guimaraes can't hold on to it. Ball played forward here now is Sarr. Will get it out wide on this near side. Has it on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Looking now to lay it back towards Lerma. Lerma will put in a ball towards the far post. Pope read it well and quickly comes out to collect, and the Newcastle keeper will look to bowl it out, and he's sending Isak on his way, springing over halfway, just falls down but gets it to Livramento. He comes over the halfway line, feeds it down the channel to Barnes. Barnes down the left hand side of the penalty area has it now, looking around him for options, just lays off the ball to Livramento, fires it back to Joe Linton, who's got Sandro Tonali with him. He'll spread it wide on the right to Trippier. This right-hand side has been a good outlet for Newcastle early in this game. Murphy tries to feed it now to Guimaraes, who just asked too much of Trippier. And a good touch in from Gurhey, but won back again by Tonali, who's playing some wonderful football at the moment. Here's Bruno Guimaraes now, midway inside the Palace half. 0-0 if you've just joined us here on Talksport 2. But Newcastle on the attack. Isak's had a couple of good chances already. Joel Linton tries to feed it in towards Barnes. It's cleared away. And forward will come Palace again, looking to break as they like to do, but there's Fabian Schur to tidy it up. And they're just getting squashed in at the moment, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle, that midfield three of Joel Linton, Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes at the moment, they're everywhere.
This is why I find it strange sometimes. Palace have an abundance of pace in attack. They can't get out at the moment. So what's wrong with, especially up the slope, and it is a slope here, whatever anyone thinks, sticking one over the top, the ball holds up a little bit, those front three chase after it, put pressure on Newcastle, and you can get yourself up the pitch and get in. But no, they all want to play around the back and play neat and tidy football, and you just invite pressure half the time.
Here is Livramento, has it wide on the Newcastle left, looks to work it back onto his right foot, lays it back for Byrne, finds Fabian Schär, he has it. And now the crossfield ball to Trippier at the far post, puts it into the 6-yard box, and it's collected by Henderson. But he's getting in quite a lot, isn't he, Trippier, down this right-hand side?
Yeah, because Crystal Palace are not threatening in behind him. He's saying, well, in that case, if they're going to play to feet all the time, I can go and play as a wing-back. And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, the centre-half picks him out, level with the 6-yard box? OK, his cross wasn't quite good enough on that occasion. But that's what he's able to do, because Palace are not prepared to put the ball in behind the Newcastle defence. So Trippier and Livramento can push right up the pitch.
Dean Henderson took an eternity there to get the ball back in play. Eventually he does. Mitchell has it, tries to feed it forward. There's a good dummy there. Sarr now is driving forward. Here's a chance for Palace. They'll feed it out wide onto that right-hand side, push them a little bit too wide. Cross comes back in for Sarr. He side foots it wide. You are listening to Newcastle against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Newcastle against Crystal Palace, live right now. Search Now Sports for more details. 0-0 here, 13 on the clock. Danny Mills, what have you made of the opening 13 minutes?
I think it's been good. It's been lively. Newcastle had the better of it so far. They're the ones on the front foot, really looking to try and get the goal. Crystal Palace sitting back a little bit too much for my liking.
Here's a nice pass from Joel Linton, feeds it to Bruno Guimaraes, and he had 3 in front of him and he misplaced the pass. He'll get another opportunity here. Finds Tonali, he feeds it wide to Trippier. He plays it down the line for Murphy. Murphy drills one across and it's gone in. Murphy scores again. What a season he's having. He drilled it past Henderson at the near post from an acute angle, and he catches a Palace keeper out. It's Newcastle 1, Palace 0.
Well, it's an incredible finish. Need to see it again to decide if he meant it or not. Can't tell from the first angle. But again, it's Newcastle with swift, quick passing down this right-hand side. Trippier lays it in behind and Murphy just fires it. Whether he meant it or not, irrelevant. It's gone. It's flown in at such a pace. But what I will say, he has to be one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. Him and Joel Linton, absolutely superb. We're just seeing the replay again now. It comes out to the right-hand side. Trippier in absolutely acres of space unmarked, rolls it in behind the fullback. Did that have a deflection? Did that take a nick or not? We got the smallest of monitors.
I don't know. Either way, he's got it on the right-hand side of the penalty area, the 18-yard box, and he's lashed it. I think it's swerved off past Gurhey and past the keeper. He's caught him out, whether he meant it or not. There was some venom in it, and it is.
Well, the only thing I would say is he's not hitting across that hard. You know, he's looking to fire that. If you're hitting the ball that hard, you have to be firing it towards goal, because no one's getting on the end of that. And he's put in a couple of good crosses already. Let's give him credit. He meant that. Absolutely smashed it in the near post. Dean Henderson's got to have a look at himself.
I think it's just caught him by surprise, hasn't it? The sheer pace of the shot.
Well, yeah, I get that, but it's your job as a goalkeeper not to be caught by surprise.
1-0. Jacob Murphy, that's his 18th goal involvement in the Premier League this season. He's by far and away his best return. 8 goals now and 10 assists for him. Well, whether he meant it or not, and I think he did, it was a stunning strike.
Yeah, having seen the replay and the venom that he hits the shot with, I don't think that can be a cross.
I wouldn't have wanted to be heading it in if it was an attempted cross. Trippier falls under the
soft,
challenge
that's why.
of Mitchell. Look, just to start, Newcastle wanted. Isak had a couple of chances early on, couldn't find the back of the net, but Murphy's wonder season goes on. He got a double in the win at Leicester on Talksport just over a week ago, and he's back at it again. And look, a lot's made about buying big-name players and better players. Eddie Howe, as you mentioned the two there, Jacob Murphy was on his way out at Newcastle under Steve Bruce. He was out of contract, looked like he was leaving. All of a sudden now he's one of the standout performers, as is Joel Linton. It just shows if the manager is allowed to coach the players and make them better, what can be achieved. Here though come Palace at the other end. And it's ball breaks to Lerma. He gets it away now. Here's Everichi Eze, who looks to get it onto his right foot, lays it back here. Shot from Hughes, just over the top, but Pope had it covered.
I'm not sure it's just about coaching. I would like to give a little bit more credit to the players within that. I think you look at Joe Linton, you look at Murphy. What have they done? They've worked incredibly hard. They put a shift in every week. And to be able to do that, that means they're putting a shift in every single day. Physically, they're in the gym. You can see that. You know, they're athletes. And that comes about from that's a personal thing. They've obviously looked and thought, you know what, I'm not quite fitting in here. Manager isn't quite fancy. What can I do to improve? Their ability probably hasn't changed in that time. But what they have added is reliability, physicality, athleticism, work rate, desire, all those sorts of things. So yeah, I think a lot of credit has to go to the players within that.
Yeah, Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0. Remember, a point at least would have taken Newcastle above Nottingham Forest into third, but if they can get all three tonight, they're 5 clear of Chelsea in 6. Top 5, remember, will qualify for the Champions League. And speaking of the Champions League, we'll keep you up to date. Real Madrid Arsenal live over on Talksport from 8 o'clock tonight.
Well, that's sort of nice little segue into that. You know, people are talking about Mbappe, who's maybe made Madrid worse because of his work or lack of work rate, or perceived work rate, should we say. All the ability in the world, all the talent. But if you're not going to put the hard yards in and do that side of the game, then yeah, you do become a bit of a passenger at times. So, you know, fair credit. And I think people forget that sometimes. If you're a young player and you want to make your way to be a professional, you've got to work your socks off day in, day out. Doesn't just happen on a Saturday afternoon, Wednesday evening, whatever it might be.
Joel Linton gets the ball away. Here on the half turn is Livramento. He's over the halfway line. Finds out on the left-hand side Harvey Barnes. 4 black and white shirts waiting for a ball into the middle. Here's Joel Linton. He's going to go back to that right-hand side. Just got caught in possession, and in doing so he catches the heels there of Ismail Hassan. It's a free kick to Crystal Palace. How does their plan change then, having gone down early on here? 19 on the clock. They trail by a goal to 0.
Well, they looked like they were coming here for a point to play on the counter-attack. But if you're going to come play on the counter-attack, you've got to use your pace. You know, when you turn the ball over, you've got to be really, really sharp, you know, to break the lines. First thought has to be forward. Can't be sideways, because that allows Newcastle to get back in. And that's maybe the one thing. There's a couple of occasions it's happened. But generally, when they've turned the ball over, they've kept it. With that pace up front, with that front three, if you were going to play on the counter, I'd say to my midfield players, the moment you get the ball, look forward. Even if you're just turning one round the corner, helping it on over the top, get those lads running at the Newcastle defence.
Well, Dan Burn just made a bit of a hash of his clearance. He's conceded a throwing down the Palace right, about 10 yards away from the corner flag far side. Jefferson Lerma is over there about to take it. Can Palace get an equaliser here? Trailing by a goal to 0. One away loss in 11 in the Premier League for them. They won't want to go back-to-back with defeat here. That cup semi-final on the horizon for Palace. There's a long throw into the area. Byrne didn't quite get anything on that, and he's fortunate that Pope was right behind him, alert to the danger, and Pope bowls it out and says to Trippier, get after that. And Murphy's already sprinting down the wing. He's played it early, trying to get Murphy in behind. Murphy gets there, first time cross, and it's put behind. On the break again, it was Richards who saves Palace, but that is lethal. 2 passes, and they're in the penalty area.
And that's why I talk about being direct. You know, it doesn't have to be a long punt down the field. Goalkeeper out to Trippier. Murphy's on his bike, down the line. He plays him in. A real good understanding. Trippier said to him, the moment the ball... It was almost in between Trippier and Murphy. You could see Kieran Trippier say, go on, you go. Just go. Start running now, and I'll play you in. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he was at full tilt, wasn't he, Murphy? As soon as he saw Trippier was going to take that ball. Well, Trippier now is taking the corner in front of the Gallagate here. Newcastle lead 1-0. Live on Talksport 2. Palace, everybody back in the penalty area. Newcastle players waiting around about the penalty spot. Ball delivered deep, headed away, only as far as Livramento. He'll play it out wide towards Schur, who's going to have a look. He might have a dip here. He is going to have a dip, speculative and over the top, and it's safely behind, and it remains 1-0. 21 on the clock.
That's the understanding and the experience that Trippier brings into the team. You know, Murphy's 30, 31. You know, he's not young either. But having that ability for your fullback, who's still got plenty of football left in him, the moment he gets it, to say to his winger, go on, you just go. Just start running and I will play it in. Murphy's then got the trust in him that he's going to have to sprint 50, 60 yards, but he's going to get the ball. You know, you make that run 2 or 3 times, don't get it, you ain't making it anymore. And that's the difference. So it's a really good understanding between the two.
Yeah, ball played long by Henderson, who's already had a warning off the official tonight to speed up his clearances.
He does realise he's 1-0 down.
Yeah.
When's the new rule come in? Next year?
I think so.
Is it next season?
He took an turn. He had about 15 seconds with the ball in his hand.
It's going to go to the corner, isn't it? Eight seconds and it's a corner.
Yeah. Here's Tonali, flicks the ball forward.
About time they changed that and did something proper about it.
Yeah, it's too easy, isn't it, to waste time now for the goalkeepers.
Referees don't. The 6-second law is still there, don't forget. But referees don't want to use it because, well, they see the consequences as too big. Although it's quite hard to score.
Yeah, it is. Here now, the ball played wide again. Murphy's on his bike again. He comes across, tries to shield the ball out and does so for a throw-in. He got an own goal in the 1-1 draw down at Selhurst Park earlier in the year. Newcastle in that game didn't have a shot on target, ended up with a 1-1 draw. Only one shot in the 90 minutes there. They've had significantly more efforts than that already tonight. You are listening to Newcastle against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0 here at St James's Park. Mateta's header is a loopy one as they will have it on the edge of his area. Gets it away. Now it's played forward to Sarr. Nice flick round the corner for Jean-Philippe Mateta, who, if he looks up, has got support either side of him. Turns, pirouettes and pirouettes again, and then gives it away. Can Guimaraes get there? No, he can't, but Gurry's giving it away. And if Isak was onside and he slipped on halfway, he would have been away. Fortunate for Palace.
Get your studs on, man. Get some longer studs in. That's twice he's slipped over. He was in. Richards had clearly playing him on, had dropped a little bit deep in that right-hand side. But this is what I like about Newcastle. They get the ball, their first look, can I play the ball forward into space or for somebody running? Simply break the lines and take 7 or 8 Palace players out of the team. Arsene Wenger used to do that at Arsenal. It's brilliant football.
Yeah, Palace a little bit more circumspect at the moment. Here's Gurhi again, has it back after his ban, sent off against Brighton. Here's Mitchell on halfway.
Everything's in front of the Newcastle players. Everything's in front of the defence. It's very, very easy. Or not easy. It's much easier to defend against when they're playing it sideways all the time, not really looking to get in behind you.
He has it again. Newcastle just back off. Will Hughes picks it up. Brings it forward over the halfway line, gets it back to Gurhi, wide on the left, feeds it outside to Mitchell, but again they're just rolling off passes. Now they try and play a ball through for Eze. He's going to keep this in, down by the byline. Trippier got a foot in, another slip. Eze this time stumbles and the ball played off Mitchell and out for a throw. And there were a lot of Manchester United players slipping here at the weekend. There's been 1 or 2 slipping tonight as well. It's pretty dry. There was a spattering of rain early on.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's been quite dry for a while, hasn't it? We've had, when summer's gone now. We've had summer. It's disappeared. It's freezing cold up here. But I think everything's dried out a little bit, and got quite dry. And then, of course, these football pitches, the way they are, they're so lush. You get a little bit of water on top, and it just makes it very, very greasy.
Well, it's 1-0 to Newcastle as Lacroix is caught in possession. Ball fed to Isak, who tried to poke it into the path of Barnes, and rather fortuitously Daniel Munoz just got a boot on it, and he's furious with his central defenders there, as if to say, how on earth did that ball make its way through to me? They're living on the edge here, Crystal Palace. They're giving it away too much in the middle.
Too easy, but again, Newcastle, the moment they get it, looking to get in behind, get forward as quick as possible. Really good play.
Long punt forward, is looking to get in behind, but Livramento nods it back to his goalkeeper, Nick Pope, who looked once again to launch a counter. 26 on the clock. You're live on Talksport 2. Mark Wilson with the former England defender Danny Mills. Newcastle 1, Palace 0. Over on Talksport, Adrian Durham is with Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce in Spain, in Madrid, as Real Madrid look to complete a huge comeback against Arsenal, who lead 3-0 from the first leg in that Champions League quarter-final. Here's Tonali, brings it towards halfway, gets it away to Barnes, goes past one, was clipped and dives on the ball and will collect it knowing he's going to get a free kick. His 2-goal heroics at the weekend rewarded with another start here, despite the fact that Anthony Gordon is fit again and on the Newcastle bench.
Yeah, I think you have to reward players when they do well. You know, that's simple as that. You come in, Anthony Gordon was out for a few games, you come in, you do well, you've earned that right. That shirt becomes yours. You know, I think someone has to take that shirt off you. You know, make sure you just don't give it away.
Yeah, well, they're certainly doing that. Harvey Barnes, he's been amongst the goals. Free kick then over on the far side. It's about 5 metres in from touch on that left-hand side. They're going to swing it in towards the penalty area. Once again, everybody back for Palace. They don't leave anybody forward at all here. Ball's going to be squared to Tonali. Tonali's just going to stand one up to the far post where Murphy's there, and it's headed behind and out for a corner. And Murphy wants to take it quickly, but Joel Linton's having none of it and says, just hang on. Corner Newcastle that Trippier is going to come across and take.
It's all Newcastle, isn't it? You know, all the pressure, they're piling on it. Can they get another one before half-time? It would be a fantastic achievement if they can.
Well, they dominated Manchester United here at the weekend, but were undone by a sucker punch right on half-time. Didn't matter in the end, but they'd like a second goal. Ball into the area. There's a Palace player gone down here. I think Joel Linton might have crashed into that Palace player. I'm not sure who it is, and the ball, despite being in Newcastle's possession, referee calls a halt to play.
Is it Mateta?
Yeah, I think it could be, actually.
No, it's not. No, he stood up. I can see it.
Oh, yeah, he's just standing there over it, isn't he? It's Sarr, I think, isn't it?
I was just looking around to see who I couldn't see standing up.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. It is going to be a stoppage in play here. 1-0 Newcastle leads. We were listening to Talksport earlier on, Danny, and a lot of Arsenal fans ringing in saying they're going to blow it tonight. What do you think is going to happen over on Talksport this evening?
I mean, for the neutral, it'll be great if Madrid score early, you know, and because it'll be a real game then. If Arsenal score, that's it. You know, done and dusted, simple as that. And if Arsenal get their mindset right, they should. You know, they're good and they're more than capable of winning that game. But we saw last night, you know, if you ease off it a little bit, you get a bit too defensive. Here's Tonali, puts the ball back in as we start, and Byrne heads it back across goal. Guimaraes slipped in the box, ball cleared forward. Trippier can't keep it in, it's out for a throw-in. Even Dortmund and Barcelona took it a little bit lightly, didn't they? You know, just about got away with it in the end. So yeah, no, I think it'll be an interesting game. But if Arsenal score first, stick with us.
Yeah, it is live. You've got the app, you can swipe left and right between Talksport and Talksport 2. 8 o'clock kickoff there. We'll keep you up to date any goals as they go in here. Newcastle lead by 1-0. As Mitchell has it, wanders forward, gets it to Mateta. Sherwood's all over him again, and it's another free kick that goes Palace's way. And an opportunity here to maybe send some of the big guns forward as we approach the half-hour mark. Palace don't look particularly in a rush to do anything tonight, do they?
And that's what I'm starting to talk. You know, it's you drop off at 5-10%, it makes a huge difference. You know, they're not quite at it. Newcastle are more at it, aren't they? You know, it's simple as that. There's clearly more at stake for Newcastle.
There is. Eze stands over it. Probably 10 yards over the halfway line. He's going to float it towards the far post. Pope's come a mile out. Didn't necessarily get anything on it. Lerma heads it over his head towards the line, and Dan Burn heads it away. And Joel Linton will hook it away to safety.
Referee, Rich this down with a head injury. Blow your whistle, man.
Yeah, there is a Palace head injury. Newcastle fans are frustrated because they were hoping to break away there, but the Palace player had gone down. Nick Pope came an awful long way out there.
And missed it by an awful long way as well, by the way. I mean, he came about on the angle, 20 yards plus. Not sure what he was doing. It was low by the time he got to it. He was nowhere near quick enough. But Richards goes down. There's then a header back into the box, then a half clearance. Pope smacks straight into him from that punch. Why on earth the referee doesn't call on the train or stop the game immediately, I do not know. The referee's job, first and foremost, is welfare of the players. That's it. Shouldn't be thinking about anything else. when a goalkeeper comes 15, 20 yards at full speed and smashes into somebody, whether he's gone down or whatever, the referee should stop the game immediately.
Yeah, well, he stopped it eventually, and everything is okay. It's currently Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 0. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage. But right now, Newcastle to win the match 2-7. Crystal Palace win at 10-1. The draw is 4-1. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18 plus begambleaware.org. Now, we are getting a VAR check here for a possible penalty. Now, I can only imagine this is Nick Pope who's come out and he has clattered in. Now, Nick Pope got the ball, but did he get a bit of the Palace player with it? Now, as Danny mentioned earlier, our monitor is not the best, I'm not going to lie.
Remember those little TVs used to get like 2 inches with an aerial? For anybody of age.
The youngsters don't know what you're on about, Danny. That's a phone, isn't it? That mobile phone now. Now, he's checking it. He's going to the monitor.
It's a penalty.
This is going to be interesting.
He's given a penalty, put it that way. There's no way he's not going to give a penalty if he's been sent to the monitor.
Well, Darren England, wave play on. He's now wandering over to the far side of St James's Park here, and he's been called to have a look. Now, Nick Pope came an awful long way here, and he has punched the ball away, but in doing so...
Did he, though? Was it him that punched it?
Or was it Joel Linton that got a header on it?
You can't tell.
Well,
who heads the ball?
Has Richards been fouled in the midst of that?
No.
I'm not so sure that's a foul, Danny.
Look, if you look at it, Pope, he doesn't get much on it, but he hits the ball look, he hits the ball first, and then he clatters into him. That's not a penalty. Look, he touches the ball, and I know they talk about follow-throughs, but he's jumping in the air.
If this is a penalty, Danny, a goalkeeper can never come out and punch the ball again. Because if he touches someone on that evidence, it's a foul.
This is a contact sport. Darren England needs to be strong here and say no penalty.
Yeah.
Because that's not a penalty. Who's the VAR?
It is Craig Paulson.
Why is he sent into the screen for that?
You can almost see the reluctance here of Darren England. Well, he's looking and looking again.
Then it's not clear and obvious.
It's not. I don't.
It's never been a penalty. It's not a penalty.
Oh, he's going to give it. Here we go.
That's penalty. Embarrassing.
Wow.
That's embarrassing.
Nick Pope came an awful long way out, and it's deemed that he caught Chris Richards on the follow-through. A goalkeeper now can never come out and try and claim the ball again.
No,
they can't.
Look, he's misjudged it, and he hasn't got a clean punch. But he touches the ball first. He touched the ball, and then as he's jumping, he hits the player. That's not a penalty.
Well, they've seen it on the big screen here, and they've got the same opinion as us. I know they're slightly biased.
Oh, do you know what? I'm surprised they put that on the big screen. They don't normally do that, do they?
Well, they've put it up now, and it's going to be Ebericha Eze who's going to take it against Nick Pope. Can Pope redeem himself here?
Never been a penalty.
I agree. Oh, that is soft. Very, very soft.
If he'd have missed the ball and clattered him, fair enough. But he gets a little bit of the ball and then they jump into each other. You could argue that it's a foul the other way.
Well, he's got 2 in his last 4. Ebericha Eze, this to level it up from the spot. Can Nick Pope, who's been told to get back on his line, Eze just stands with both feet next to the ball, almost like he's going to mark his run up here. He's stood over it now. The referee's having all sorts of bother. The players pushing and shoving on the edge of the 18-yard box. Newcastle lead by a goal to 0. Controversial VAR award of a penalty here for Crystal Palace. Eze now marks his run up. Can he level things up here? He's right on the edge of the 18-yard box. Can Nick Pope keep him out? This for 1-1. 35 gone, St James's Park. Ebericha Eze comes forward, little stutter step, and then a stop, and then rolls it straight at the keeper. Goodness. That is quite frankly the worst penalty I have ever seen. Straight at Nick Pope. He had the stutter step, he had the stop. He might as well have picked it up and thrown it at him.
I mean, that is absolutely terrible penalty.
It's
justice.
Still 1-0.
I am going to say justice was done. It was never a penalty in the first place. Is it? What are you thinking of? That is one of the worst penalties that I have ever seen. Nick Pope could have dived the wrong way, got up, and then dived back on it. It was that tame. And it was what, a yard out of the middle of the goal?
Oh, look.
That's like the Panenka that goes wrong.
I think that's even worse. Right, that is so bad. He did the stutter set, then he stopped, and then from a 1 yard run, he tried to give Pope the eyes, and Nick Pope has just fallen on it. Couldn't believe his luck.
Well, Nick Pope fell down, and it still took 2 or 3 seconds to get to him.
Well, there's those. He couldn't quite believe it. Well, it was a soft penalty award. It was an even softer penalty attempt. Still 1-0.
It was a terrible penalty award. Should never, ever been given.
Here's Murphy.
And the fact that it took him well over a minute to decide goes to show it was never a penalty.
I just think now, any keeper comes off his line and makes contact with an opposition player, it's a penalty. Here's Livramento. Newcastle looking for a second. Barnes has got Isak unmarked in for the goal. It's deflected in, and Newcastle have a second. Harvey Barnes shot deflected in, past the keeper. Palace protest. Newcastle celebrate within 60 seconds of Eze's miss at one end. Newcastle lead by 2. Newcastle 2, Palace 0.
Oh, and all the cameras go straight to Eze, not Newcastle players that have scored and celebrating. I mean, that's how quickly things can change in football. It was a terrible penalty by Eze. But again, Newcastle, look how direct they are. Their midfielders are on the half turn all the time. They're always looking to play the ball in behind, get in behind the opposition. That's exactly what they do. And as the ball comes in, okay, it's a deflection. Harvey Barnes is trying to pull it back to Isak, who probably would have had a tap in had it not been deflected. Let's be honest. Look, if that clears, it's Gahey, isn't it? If that goes past Gahey, Isak's got a tap in from 2 yards out. He ain't missing that.
Well, Mark Gahey got an own goal down at Selhurst Park. He's got another one. 7 to go to the break. Newcastle 2, Palace 0. What an expensive couple of minutes that could be for Palace.
And it's what Newcastle deserve. They have been much the better side, I have to say. They've been on the front foot, they're passing forward, they're passing swiftly, directly, looking to break the lines all the time.
Schur's header away is met by Dan Burn, who knocks it long. Guimaraes is going to get after it. He's going to try and put Gahey under pressure. Well, he was linked with a move to Tyneside, wasn't he? A big money move at the start of the season as Hughes clatters into Joe Linton. And Mark Gahey scored 2 goals for Newcastle despite being a Palace player.
Why do players try and be so clever about penalties?
I just can't believe the run up, the stutter, the stop, and then...
You're a professional footballer. If you're side-footing it into within 2-3 feet of the post, even side-footing it, probably about 55, 60 miles an hour, keeper's got no chance. Absolutely no chance. By dilly-dallying and doing all that sort of stuff, suddenly it becomes a game of chance and you put a lot more jeopardy into it. I think Alan Shearer ever took a penalty like that.
No. Here come Palace again. Mateta edge there, a shot straight at Nick Pope, who'll have been happy to get that one. Well, they've been in good form from the spot. They don't get many penalties at Palace, but they've made an awful mess of that one. No doubting that.
Matt Le Tissier missed 1 penalty. One of the best penalty takers ever. The other penalty taker who was unbelievable, don't think he ever missed. Didn't take as many. Jan Molby. Stepped up, side foot, within a foot of the post every single time. Bang. Nothing special. Just pass it into the corner. Simple as that.
Well, they had scored their last 7 penalties, Crystal Palace. Jean-Philippe Mateta's taken the last 3.
As you should.
Yeah. Ball over the top, looking towards Harvey Barnes. Livramento will tidy it up, gets it away to Barnes, who's instantly tackled. Good challenge as well. Munoz goes forward, looking to try and break, lays the ball back, but there's Livramento tracking back. They just look so hungry, Newcastle, even when they, like you said, and now look, here they go again. Trippier bombing down the right hand side. Isak waits in the middle. Can he get the delivery in? Mitchell comes across, lovely ball to Guimaraes. Guimaraes pulls it back onto his left foot, squares it unselfishly. Isak shot blocked. Joe Linden swinging a miss. Isak fires wide. 3 chances in 1, and Newcastle can't get a 3rd goal, but they are destroying Palace at the moment. They lead 2-0.
Their energy levels, their desire is so much greater than Crystal Palace at the moment. You know, seen it so many times in games. You know, suddenly it's like Palace are, oh, now what? That's like game plan gone. They're not tracking back. They're not chasing the runners. Newcastle have got that 5% energy extra. Crystal Palace have lost 10%. It's a huge swing in football.
Well, whenever Newcastle lose it, there's always a foot going in to win it straight back. And whenever they get it, you've made the point, it's instantly they're going forward. Trippier and Livramento are getting going down both flanks. Barnes and Murphy are willing runners. And Isak must be wondering how he didn't get a goal there. He's not scored in the last two as Trippier dispossesses Eze. Penny for his thoughts at the moment after that penalty miss.
Well, also I'd say, how much quicker is Eze than Trippier? A lot, I would say. Have we seen him knock the ball past him and run? Have we seen him get played in behind Kieran Trippier? Not once. He's not caused Kieran Trippier any out of threat. Now, Trippier's very experienced and he's following into the middle of the pitch as well. But he's not tried to cause him one single problem using his pace, and that's his biggest asset against Trippier.
Byrne wins a commanding header. Joe Linton wins a follow-up header, but it's brought down, and a chance here. Gilly's touch was not the best, but he goes forward, feeds it into Eze, whose
head's gone.
I think you're right. I think he's in a bit of a daze at the moment.
Yeah, he needs to get in at half-time and just reset himself. At the moment, he's all over the place.
Ball over the top. If they're onside here, Sarr's in behind. Flag hasn't gone up. Pope comes out. Referee, the assistant eventually puts the flag up. Well, he looked a mile offside there, Sarr, but the referee let play go on that far side, and eventually the flag goes up from Akil Howson.
There's two of them offside. I don't understand why. See, this is the problem sometimes. Pope comes out. It could easily be a collision. All sorts of problems within that. If it's obviously offside, just give the offside.
Well, Arsenal over on Talksport might find themselves getting a penalty. There's a VAR ongoing there. 10 gone. Real Madrid 0, Arsenal 0. Arsenal leading 3-0 from the first leg. And the officials are looking at a possible penalty, maybe holding from the corner. If you've got the app, you can swipe left and right between the two. Here come Newcastle, though, looking to add more misery to Crystal Palace. As Murphy looks for the give and go with Bruno Guimaraes. Played into Murphy, just asked a little bit too much. But they're always on the move, aren't they? They're always looking for a way in Newcastle.
Can I just say, how good's Kieran Trippier been? There's a lot of talk, a few months back, that he'd gone. You know, his legs had gone. He was no longer the player that he used to be, whatever it might be. He has been superb this evening.
The Premier League Match Centre have tweeted out about that penalty.
Don't care, Mark. I don't care.
The referee's call of no penalty for a foul by Pope on Richards, and it was deemed there was sufficient contact for a penalty and recommended an on-field review.
I'm sorry, joke.
If you give that, Danny, you'll be giving 5 or 6 a week, because every time a keeper comes out to catch a cross and touches someone, is that a foul as well? It's got to be on that basis.
Well, it has to be. My argument would also be they're both jumping, right? Who makes contact with who? The fact that Pope touches the ball and Richards doesn't, is it not a foul the other way around? I mean, that's the silly argument that you can make with it. It's a contact sport. Two players are jumping for the ball. There's a chance they're going to bump into each other.
Well, we're in the 7 added on minutes at the end of the half.
Well, it took them 5 to decide if it was a penalty.
Yeah, it did. There was a bit of treatment as well. Free kick given away by Palace. Hughes getting in there on halfway. Newcastle lead by 2-0. Jacob Murphy with a screamer on 14 minutes. 5 past Henderson to give Newcastle the lead. And we're hearing that Arsenal did get a penalty, and Saka has had his spot kick saved as well.
Well, let's hope it was better than Eze's attempt.
Well, Lizzie, our producer's here watching it. She says not, so...
You've thrown her under the bus there, haven't you, really?
She said no.
Oh, no, he's gone for the...
Wow. It's even worse. Yeah, he has.
Has he gone for the Panenka?
Yeah, he has.
Have I got a crystal ball? I'm sure I said
right,
that.
Which one was worse? We should have a Twitter poll.
Well,
Which one was worse?
Has he tried to Panenka him? He has as well, you know. What are you doing?
Wow. Neverice Eze, England international. Worst penalty ever. Saka almost the worst penalty ever for Arsenal.
I'm sorry, but if either of those players are in my dressing room coming at half-time, they are getting one heck of a dressing down, by the way.
Well, it's Newcastle lead 2-0 here.
I mean, what's he doing?
Well, Courtois has gone to dive away to his right, and he's dived and then stopped his dive and just stopped it with his hand.
It's not even down the middle. It's not even Panenka down the middle.
If he had gone down the middle, he'd have scored. It's 2-0 here. Palace on the attack, looking for a lifeline. Both those games, this one and the Arsenal game, live on the Talksport network tonight as Tonali blocks Will Hughes' cross. And the ball played forward, breaks on here. Tonali looks up and he sees now down the middle. It's Harvey Barnes. Touch takes him wide. Lacroix comes across. Barnes goes round him, fires it in. 3-0 Newcastle. Harvey Barnes scores again. A clinical counter-attack from Newcastle. 3 goals and surely 3 points. And more importantly, 3rd place beckons in the Premier League. Newcastle 3, Palace 0.
Oh, you're spot on. 3 goals, 3 points, 3rd place. Let's go home. We don't need to play the second half. Might as well call it a night. I mean, what a breakaway yet again. Newcastle have been absolutely magnificent. On the front foot, swift passing. Look, the counter-attack, look, how many passes? One little one backwards, 1 forwards, 2 forwards, goal. This is how Arsenal used to play back in the day. It used to go out to one of the fullbacks, into Lundberg, into Perez or into Henry, very, very quickly. Bergkamp, turn, play it. Arsenal used to work on the principle, 3 passes and can we get a strike on goal? That's exactly what Newcastle have done this evening. I'm not quite sure why Henderson's come out. Who's he having a go at? He's having a go at Eze, I think. Or this could kick off at half-time.
Well, it could do.
I think I'd be turning around even if I was Eze, say, look, you've got the gloves on, mate. You're supposed to save it. If you don't let the first one in,
yeah,
we're not 1-0 down. This could quite erupt, I would think. I'd like to be a fly in the wall.
Well, you might hear it. We're sat above the dressing rooms here at St James's Park. Newcastle 3-0 to the good. It's a clinical counter-attack goal, and it's another goal for Harvey Barnes, who's having a wow of a spell at the moment.
Jason Tinder must be thinking, what's all the fuss about? You know, this management lark's easy.
Well, his team are playing really well.
Eddie Howe's team.
Yeah. That's 4 in 3 for Barnes. Nice finish as well, wasn't it? Fired it across the keeper, low into the bottom corner.
It wasn't easy because he had a lot of time to think about it. He was being closed down. Does he come inside on his right foot? Or, you know, he does the little step over, goes on his left and fires it into the back of net. It was a really good finish.
Ball over on the far side. Palace deep in added on time, whipping a good ball, but it's just a bit too deep. 4 of the minimum 7 have gone, and look, last time they came here, Palace were 3-0 down at half-time, went on to lose 4 goals to 0. This could be another long night for Palace here. That penalty miss at 1-0 now looks oh so crucial. Another long throw that Lerma's going to take. If they can get one back before the break, they might have a hint of an opportunity, but they've been outplayed here for 49 minutes so far. Long throw goes in towards the 6-yard box. It is flicked on. It's a good flick on. Mateta brings it down, and a great block there. Might have been Livramento on the line, blocks it and keeps it out, and it's behind for a corner to Palace.
It was Mateta brought it down, wasn't it, from the flick on. Just as he was about to swivel, Livramento comes in, but again, I have to say, Livramento wants a great touch, and as he goes to turn, Livramento comes across, covering defender and gets his tackle in. Really well done.
Yeah, good play all round there. Mateta did really well in a tight spot, but Livramento blocked his goal-bound shot. Corner Palace, 3-0 down. Towards the far post, Pope comes out, makes sure he doesn't touch anyone, catches it cleanly, and they want to counter here, and the fans are frustrated that Nick Pope didn't let that ball go, but there's no rush. There's got 2 minutes to the break. They lead 3-0.
I'd love to be able to ask the referee, what makes you think that's a penalty?
But he didn't think on the pitch it was a penalty.
That's what I mean. So by seeing that review, what makes you think that is a penalty? Why have you given it? Where's the contact? Why is that a foul? So every time someone goes up for a header, if they don't head the ball, you're going to give a foul every time. That's effectively what he's saying.
Well, the touch was minimal. That's the silly thing.
If you go up for a header and don't win the ball, then he's got to give a foul every single time if he's going to be consistent.
Yeah. Newcastle, have they got time for one more? Here's Trippier again. Feeds it to Joel Linton. Back to Murphy. Joel Linton can't get to it. Guimaraes has pushed off the ball. Free kick. Will Hughes has got a few fouls in, hasn't he, so far? Free kick 30 yards out. Level with the right side of the penalty area. Maybe one last chance here to send the big boys up from the back.
Newcastle don't want the break. It's one of those games where you just say, you know what, can we not just play straight 90 minutes? Sometimes, they'll come out half time. It'll be difficult for them, because they're cruising at the moment and they've been so intense. Can they come out with the same intensity in that second half? Palace will get the opportunity to reset a little bit. I'll be surprised if there's not one or two personnel changes at half time for Palace as well.
Murphy and Trippier wait over the free kick. There's a one-player wall in front of the ball here. Everybody back again. Palace trying to hold the 18-yard line.
If Trips has a look at this, the shot's on.
And rifles it.
Yeah, near post. There's a big gap.
Well, they're going to leave it for Murphy, who puts in a great ball. He's flicked and it's in. There's your fourth goal. He's headed in. It's Fabian Schär who scores. Newcastle rampant at St James's Park. A well-worked free kick. Murphy with yet another assist. But it's a wonderful deft header from Fabian Schär. And it's Newcastle 4, Palace 0.
It's a fantastic little free kick. It's clever. Trippier goes over it, just sort of back heels it to Murphy. Creates a little bit of a better angle. Murphy whips it to the far post. Schär comes across and just gets a flick on it. Not much of it. Palace defenders are like statues. No one attacks the ball. No one goes for it. Mateta's slow to react. Look, not a single Palace player really attempts to go and head that. Schär is 6 yards out and a free header. That's about desire. That's about the want to go and head the ball. No player from Crystal Palace had that.
4-0.
You can do second half on your own, Mark, can't you? You don't need me for this.
Well, Oliver Glasner looks on.
Looks a bit glum, doesn't he?
Conceded 5 at the weekend. They concede 4 in the opening 45. Well, Palace opted to make Newcastle shoot to the Gallagher end in the first half here. And they were made to pay because Newcastle on the front foot from the off. They scored on 14 minutes after Trippier played in Jacob Murphy. A narrow angle. He rifled a shot from a tight angle pass. He surprised Henderson to make it 1-0. Then a moment of controversy. Nick Pope came out an awful long way to punch the ball clear. It was deemed that having punched the ball clear, he had made contact with Chris Richards. That was the view of the VAR. And eventually on the field referee gave a penalty. Eberechi Eze from the spot, stuttered run up, stopped and rolled it straight at Nick Pope. A horrendous miss. Within 60 seconds of that, Newcastle were 2-0 up. Harvey Barnes played in on the counter-attack down the left. His pullback for Alexander Isak didn't reach him because Mark Gurley, for the second time this season, against Newcastle, turned the ball into his own net. 2-0 going into added on time. Then another clinical counter-attack from the Toon as Harvey Barnes raced into the area and rifled it across goal and in off the far post for 3-0. And then just as things couldn't get any worse for Palace, they did. Hughes penalised for a foul 30 yards out. Trippier and Murphy worked the free kick and Fabian Schär heads it in deftly in at the far post for 4-0. Danny Mills, what a first half for Newcastle. They can scarcely believe it.
Newcastle were outstanding, absolutely brilliant. Just that one little blip where Nick Pope came and missed it. Well, he didn't, he got a slight touch on it. Never ever a penalty, not a chance. He said goalkeeper comes to the ball, gets a slight touch on it with his hand, he's got gloves on, that's what he's supposed to do, and then bumps into the player. And he didn't clatter the player, did he? He almost sort of caught him as he was coming down from his leap. Never ever been a penalty. The penalty was embarrassing, by the way. Absolutely shocking. No idea what Eze was thinking of trying to do that. But Newcastle, they've been absolutely superb. Every single player has been... The first thought is, and this is what football should be, first pass forward. Can I run forward with the ball? Can I pass the ball forward? Can I take opposition players out of the game by going forward? They've done that absolutely brilliantly with pace, with precision, with desire. They've been almost unplayable so far. I mean, the only hope... I saw one of the greatest ever comebacks here by Newcastle. 4 each when Arsenal were 4-0 up at half-time. Chektioti scored the most unbelievable volley. Don't think that's going to happen this evening. I can't see him coming back from 4-0.
Well, if you're offering me even money each or two, who's going to score 4 goals in the second half, then I would not be back in Crystal Palace. That is for sure. Look, what will Jason Tindall say at half-time? Just carry on playing as you are, lads?
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult because they've been so good. They've played with such intensity. Although he's going to be saying, look, you have to go out, you have to start well. You have to go out and you have to keep that intensity for 5 or 10 minutes. As a player, you're 4-0 up. There aren't many times in football where you can really enjoy it because there's always, 2-0 there's pressure. 3-0 you get to last 5 minutes, you get a few olays and you can, okay, it's not so much of a problem. 4-0 up, they've got to be careful that they don't really relax and take their foot off it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was me, I'd be looking at maybe 55 minutes, make a couple of subs for Newcastle, just to freshen it up. Those players on the bench will be eager to impress. Bring Anthony Gordon on, give him some minutes and say, go on then, go and show us what you can do, just to keep that pressure on Crystal Palace.
Well, we'll see. They've got a big game at the weekend, haven't they? Newcastle go to Aston Villa, so maybe there will be some changes made. With that in mind for Palace, what a nightmare 45 minutes for them.
Can you change 11 players?
We might be better just putting 5 on and leaving the other 6 off.
I think that happened in the EFL the weekend. Someone made 5 changes, all changes at half-time. Clearly someone was playing badly. But I think, he's got to look at Eze and just say, look, where's his head at? Does he take him off and not kill him, but take him out of the face? His head clearly wasn't right after he missed that penalty. But a lot of the other players haven't performed either, by the way. They've been way off it.
Yeah, there'll be an inquest in that away dressing room here, but it'll be smiles all round in the Newcastle United dressing room for the second successive game here. They've scored 4, but this time they've done it in the opening 45 minutes. Full second half to come here at St James's Park, but at the break, live on Talksport 2, Newcastle are going third. It's Newcastle United 4, Crystal Palace 0.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Get those jobs sorted this Easter with some great deals at Screwfix. Save £20 on the Titan self-propelled petrol mower, now only $179.99. And stock up on screws with a Turbo Gold Wood Screws Trade Pack, now only $19.99. That's a saving of £30. Don't miss out. These Easter deals must end on the 21st of April. Shop the Screwfix app online or in-store. Subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
You could skydive out of a plane. Or swim with sharks. You might even skinny dip in icy cold waters. Or you could get that inexpressible high, that guaranteed rush from finding just the thing you wanted, the thing you needed, at a great sale price. IKEA sale now on. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
There's not many things as epic as jumping over a volcano in a monster truck, or even swinging over a crocodile-infested river. But 15% off when you spend £15 at Mackey's comes pretty close. Deal drop. Redeem all week only in the app. 18 plus app only. One-time use per week until the 20th of April. Minimum spend and discount applied to food and drink items only. Participating restaurants, T's and C's apply.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Game day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Only one radio heavyweight brings you unbeatable canvas-thumping coverage of the biggest bouts in world boxing. Talksport. And now in collaboration with Boxer. Get set to go the distance with unparalleled ringside commentary of the biggest boxing showdowns, including Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron 2 this Sunday night, live from Birmingham. From the weigh-in to the final count, hear all the action live and for free on Talksport in collaboration with Boxer. Last remaining tickets available now at boxer.com. Fired up and raring to go.
Oh, and he's found the net!
Football commentary forged in fire and brimstone.
Brilliant strike!
This is Game Night on Talksport 2.
Murphy drills one across and it's gone in! Murphy scores again! What a season he's having!
Absolutely superb.
Nick Pope came an awful long way out there.
And missed it by an awful long way as well, by the way.
We are getting a VAR check here.
That's embarrassing.
Wow.
That's embarrassing.
Rich Eze comes forward, little stutter step, and then a stop, and then rolls it straight at the keeper.
Goodness.
That is quite frankly the worst penalty I have ever seen. Fans has got Isako marked in for the goal. It's deflected in, and Newcastle have a second. Denali looks up, and he sees now down the middle. It's Harvey Barnes. Touch takes him wide. Lacroix comes across. Barnes goes round him, fires it in. 3-0 Newcastle. We're going to leave it for Murphy, who puts in a great ball. He's flicked and it's in. There's your fourth goal. It's headed in. It's Fabian Schär who scores. Newcastle rampant at St James's Park. What a first 45 minutes for the two. Newcastle leading Crystal Palace by 4-0. Murphy, a Gurhion goal. Barnes and Schär with the goals after Eze missed the penalty to level it up at 1-1 on 36 minutes. Full second half to come. The Newcastle subs going through their half-time warm-ups. I'm sure plenty of them will be getting involved in the second half. Certainly Anthony Gordon is going through a full tilt warm-up. Maybe we'll see him sooner rather than later. Busy night of football across over on Talksport right now. It is the Champions League quarter-final second leg tie in which Arsenal are in action there, taking on Real Madrid, and it remains goalless. Saka missed a penalty there after VAR awarded the Gunners a penalty. Saka missed from the spot, but it's still so far so good for Arsenal. A 3-0 lead, and it's goalless as well in Milan as Inter 0-0 with Bayern. Bayern leading by 2-1 in the from the first leg of that tie. Plenty of other action to come as well. Busy week, of course. Tomorrow, a double header of Europa League action. Manchester United take on Lyon live. Sport, 8 o'clock, second leg, 2-2 on aggregate. Hugh Wozencroft, Alex Crook and Leanne Sanderson, our commentary team, here on Talksport 2 tomorrow night. Frankfurt take on Tottenham, second leg, 1-1 from the first leg. Jim Proudfoot and the former England man Dean Ashton, our commentary team. Then on Friday, what a bumper day we've got for you across the Talksport network. 4 games live and exclusive from the Championship. Talksport and Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. 12:30, Derby take on Luton. Danson, Darren Ambrose there for us. 3 o'clock, it's Coventry against West Bromwich Albion. Nigel Adley and Darren Ambrose for that one. It is Sheffield United Cardiff, 5:30 on Talksport. Adam Bridge and Dean Ashton. And then 8 o'clock, Leeds go to Oxford. Kevin Hatchard and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk are team for that one. Busy old weekend ahead of football action. Could be a busy old second half ahead for Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner's side, Danny Mills, 4-0 down. What will he be saying in that dressing room at the break?
You need to pull your finger out, first and foremost. I think after the weekend, there becomes a point you're saying, you probably let them away with it at Manchester City. City, a very, very good side. Newcastle, good side. You know, they're going to go third in the table this evening. But I think you have to say to them, give them a few home truths and say, I'm not being funny, lads, that's embarrassing. You've been out-fought, you've been out-worked, you're not putting the effort in. You know, they're running more than you. They're tackling more than you. They're getting back. They're running past you, then running back the other way more than you. First and foremost, you've got to go out there and match them. If you want to play in this semi-final of an FA Cup, Wembley, you need to pull your finger out, because at the moment, not many of you are getting in that team. And give it to them raw. Yeah, well, they've got 2 games after this one, Bournemouth at home and then Arsenal away, before they take on Aston Villa in that FA Cup semi-final, 26th of this month. I guess that's the only carrot he's got to give them, isn't it, at the minute? Because maybe they need a bit of stick at half-time. Doesn't take an expert, and I said it at the beginning. You know, there's a touch of they might be on the beach. All they're worried about is the FA Cup. Now, they're not going to get into Europe. They're not going to go down. Mid-table obscurity. It happens with, 6-7 games to go. We've seen it so many times. They're off it. And only Newcastle are at it by an extra 5-10%. They're off it by 5-10%. You've got a 20% swing. That's massive in football. Absolutely massive. They need to come out, and then if nothing more, pride for themselves and give their travelling fans something that they can get behind. So if I was those fans now, what's the time? I'd be on the 9 o'clock back to London.
Yeah, well, they've still got time to catch it. I mean, it was full up there. Half of them, I think, have gone to get maybe a half-time straightener, I think, just to try and recalibrate.
Half of them are on the East Coast main line back down to King's Cross, I'm telling you.
Quite possibly there, maybe. 4-0 then, full second half commentary to come. It is still 0-0 in both the European ties. Inter Milan 0-0 with Bayern Munich. Real Madrid 0-0 with Arsenal. Arsenal missed that penalty. That wasn't a great penalty either. They are coming out for the second half here. They look a bit shell-shocked. We're seeing pictures of them in the tunnel. They look a bit shell-shocked coming out of the tunnel, don't they? Palace, as they make their way.
Rightly so. They should have a proper talking to in there. That ain't good enough.
If you're the manager, would you make changes at half-time, or would you say, look, you've got 10 minutes?
Sometimes, I guess it's sometimes, you go, there are 2 ways of doing it. There's no right or wrong. You say, right, you've got, getting taken off at half-time is never great. But it can make a point sometimes. They've been that bad, I would have been tempted to make change. Well, no, actually, no, I wouldn't. Because in this instance, you ain't getting back in the game. You ain't scoring 4. So it's almost actually, you know what? It's not about humiliation, but it's like, go on, go out there, and if you don't do it, I'm bringing you off. And you will, and I will, in front of the, you've then got to have that almost that walk of shame that I'm going to drag you off. There's no, if it was 2-0, and you think by making change you can get back in the game, I would make those changes at half-time, but 4-0's too far.
Well, Anthony Gordon went through an excessive warm-up at half-time, but there are no changes for either side here. So we are as we were. Newcastle defending the Gallowgate end here in this second half. They lead by 4-0. As dominant the first 40 minutes as you'll see in the Premier League this season. Eze gets us back underway, gets it back to his goalkeeper Dean Henderson, who knocks it long. Can Palace get one early? They've got a chance here. Sarr into the penalty area, then was a big push. That should have been a free kick, and it was. Henderson in goal for Palace. A back 3 of Richards, Lacroix and Gurhey. Munoz, Lerma, Hughes and Mitchell across the middle with Sarr and Eze up alongside John-Philippe Mateta. For Newcastle, Nick Pope in goal, Trippier, Schur, Byrne and Livramento at the back, Joe Linton, Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, Barnes, Isak and Murphy in the front 3. I guess the only surprise, and he had a couple of chances even before the floodgates opened, is that we've not seen Alexander Isak score tonight. He'll be hoping for a goal, won't he, before he goes off?
Oh, definitely. But equally, he's played his part. He's caused problems. He's made runs in behind. He's had a couple of good chances, and that builds momentum all the time. Keep the pressure on. It's like when you get a set piece or a corner or a free kick. Ring that box. And sometimes it's just the consistent pressure. Somebody will make a mistake in the opposition defence. Somebody will give the ball away, or somebody won't track a runner. You just got to keep that continuous pressure minute after minute, and that's why defenders make mistakes.
Well, Newcastle have it. They're looking to go long. Barnes is looking to get in behind here, but the ball well headed away. But picked up, and here goes Barnes again. It was Richards' header. Barnes feeds it to Livramento. He's got him down the left, puts in the cross too close to the keeper, and Henderson claims it. Quickly runs to the edge of his box, but then can't get the ball away.
By the way, no one thought it was a penalty downstairs in the media room. Not a single person. And then equally, I've just said, you know what it is? They're penalties for Instagram. It is. It's almost like to get likes and, oh, look how great I am. Put the ball in the back of the net. And people might think I'm being harsh or old school, whatever. I tell you what, no. Even if they score, I don't like that penalty. My lad plays. My lad took a penalty like that, and even if he scored, he'd be getting it in the neck when he gets home.
Well, Eze's just given it away again. He's had a miserable time after that ball rolled harmlessly to Nick Pope. He couldn't believe it, the Newcastle goalkeeper. He will have been incensed. He'd have been desperate to make a big save. I think 99% of the stadium would have saved that penalty.
What's the benefit of taking a penalty like that? Bearing in mind you're expected to score. It can only go wrong in that instance. Because, you should be putting the ball in the back of the net from 12 yards out. People say, well, there's pressure. But if you give any player, if you give a centre-forward, one-on-one with a goalkeeper, 12 yards out, and he misses, you're going to hammer him.
Well, all I can say is in England international, if he did that for England in a big tournament and it didn't go in, he'd never live it down, would he?
And that's the point. So why... If you strike it hard and the keeper makes a worldy save, you go, okay, great save, not a problem. You can handle that. So it's the sort of penalty. Why are you doing it?
Yeah. Here's Murphy looking to get Newcastle on the attack again. Wide on the right. What a season he's having. That's it's a goal and 2 assists for him tonight. He's going all right, isn't he? Outstanding achievement for him.
Him and Joel Linton are possibly 2 of the most underrated players, I would say, in the Premier League.
Yeah, here's Dan Burn. It is going to be an interesting second half. Newcastle have got that big game with Aston Villa at the weekend. They don't have to do it. You don't have to win the game twice. They've won it already here. Surely the damage is done at 4-0. Jacob Murphy up to 10 assists now. In fact, that's just since December. He's absolutely flying at the moment. 4-0 here live on Talksport. It's over on Talksport right now. It is Real Madrid 0, Arsenal 0.
I'll tell you what, be giving Eddie Howe a boost, won't it? I'm pretty sure wherever he is, I'm sure he's, hopefully he's very comfortable in his hospital bed. He's probably thinking, steady lads, my job might be at stake here. It's like, you're doing a bit too well without me.
Yeah, well, he's hopefully recovering well. Jason Tindall will speak to him after the game and get his thoughts on what has been a wonderful performance, and there might be more to come. Schur spreads it wide to Barnes. Barnes looks up. Isak waiting, far post. Livramento on the overlap. Barnes goes for the shot, blocked. You can't fault him for scoring. 4 in 3 he's got now. Finds Livramento eventually, gets it back to Tonali. It will be interesting whether they keep going for goals, but Palace are not showing too much second half. Trippier has it midway inside the Palace half.
It almost looks like Palace have gone, let's try and not concede another one. Yeah. No attempt to go forward. They're camped deep into their own half. That's late from Will Hughes. There's got to be a booking.
Well, that must be at least 5 fouls he's put in now. He's
at least
complaining. Guimaraes is on the floor, and Hughes' new contract that was announced earlier today. And Hughes gets a yellow card after the referee points to about 4 various places on the field.
Yeah, at least. It wasn't a great challenge, but that's definitely as well part of the totting up. But he's late. Simple as that.
Yeah. Hughes in the book then. Well, they don't want to go down to 10. That would be a disaster for Palace. 4-0. Look, goal difference could be crucial. The end of the season, it's quite tight in those Champions League spots at the minute. Ball flicked on by Burn. Isak on the end of it. Shoots. Great save. Fortunately for Henderson, it was straight at him. Isak didn't quite get all of it. But the Swedish international will be furious he's not opened his account there.
Yeah, be really disappointed. It's a great little flick on from Burn. And it just bounced before him. It's not easy. You would expect him to do better.
It's actually a good save, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's not on the half volley. It bounces up. It's about a foot high on the up when he has to try and hit it. And that's a very, very difficult finish. He does well to get a lot on it, get a good connection. But it's not quite far enough away from Henderson.
Yeah, Good save. Better than it looked at first glance. Still 4-0. Isak denied again. He's not playing badly, but he's just been denied the 20 Premier League goal striker.
Yeah, same goal difference, isn't it, as Man City now?
Yeah, every goal counts at this stage of the season.
I mean, a lot better than Forest, a fraction better than Chelsea at the moment.
You mentioned they've got some tough games to come, haven't they? They go to Villa, they've got Brighton away, Chelsea at home, Arsenal away and Everton at home, as well as Ipswich at home. So they're still going to have to win their fair share of games in the run.
But the sort of form they're in, you'd expect them to win 3 or 4 of those, I would say. Chelsea's the big one, isn't it? Yeah, that could be Champions League decider almost like a sudden death playoff.
Yeah, that comes 3 from the end. It could all be decided before that, but Newcastle will hope that will be the case. I know Chelsea have got a tough run in as well. Newcastle have it. They lead 4-0 and they're just dominating possession here. Just going back to Jacob Murphy, that's 20 goals he's been involved with now. That is some effort, isn't it? 8 goals and 12 assists. That is an amazing season. Here now is Joel Linton. We'll get Danny's thoughts on that in a minute. Ball here with Barnes, who's not having a bad year himself. He gives it to Joel Linton. Just asks a little bit too much of him. Richards watches it out. It's a goal kick.
He's done brilliantly. You know, and that's... I talked about him in the same bracket as Joel Linton through hard work and perseverance. Both looked like their careers were ending at Newcastle at one stage. You know, we're really struggling. We're not getting played, you know, under all sorts of pressure. And then they've knuckled down, they've worked hard, they've got themselves fit. I've watched Jacob's brother Josh closely, obviously when he was at Oxford, and looked at the work rate he had. I'm not sure there's a huge amount in terms of maybe ability between them. You know, there's not a massive gulf, but that's what it is. It comes down to hard work, and they're both very, very good players. It's about hard work and determination. Too many, I think, players in this day and age want it easy. You know, they want all the good bits. They want, give me the ball and I'll do something. No, you have the ball if you're lucky for about 2 minutes in a game out of the 90. That's it. 88 minutes you're running around without it. You've got to do an awful lot of running.
You do. What he does is running. He's got a great link up with Trippier on this near side, and Newcastle continue to dominate. I think Crystal Palace have gone batten down the hatches. Let's not concede anymore. As you said, they're in damage limitation mode here, but Newcastle have still had 2 great chances.
Yeah, it's gone to the point of don't get beat 6 or 7, and it become really sort of humiliating.
The crowd would love another goal, but I think they're realistic. They know the job is done here. You wonder how long it will be before Newcastle make a change. Anthony Gordon is almost out warming up. He's on the touchline away to our left. He's just having a chat with one of the subs.
Say, yeah.
Just got to retrieve the ball now. And there is going to be substitutions incoming from the visitors. We're going to see Adam Wharton and Eddie Nketiah come on for Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Will Hughes are going to make way shortly. Ball here with Lerma. Gets it away to Gurhi, who for the second time this year has bagged an own goal against Newcastle. And we're also going to see Eberechi Eze go off as well. So there's going to be a triple substitution from Oliver Glasner, who will be furious. This is 9 they've conceded in 2 games. Well, 9 in 1.5 games, if we're going to be honest about it. As now Hughes goes forward, looks to play a ball into Mateta. Sure is there, will come across and should deal with it. Just knocks it off Mateta. Is it going to go out for a goal kick? It does. Right, so he's given a free kick, hasn't he, the official on the near side. And now here comes the change. So it hasn't taken long, has it? 10 minutes, second half, and here come the changes. And we are about to see Eddie Nketiah back from suspension. He comes on for Jean-Philippe Mateta. Wharton also about to come on. One of the 2 changes from the weekend.
Yeah, I think Will Hughes is partly because he could easily get sent off. One more challenge and he could be a red card, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could. He comes off, and we just await the last one change to be made, and it is Eberechi Eze, whose night will be remembered for that penalty miss. What a horrendous miss it was. He trudges off. Bigger and better days ahead for him, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. But I don't know, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but there is no benefit to taking a penalty like that. No benefit. because all you can do is miss, and then you're going to get absolutely... He's not even looking at the ball. We've just seen a real slow motion replay. He's not even looking at the ball. Only the very, very best can do that.
Yeah, well, it didn't work for him tonight. Here come Palace looking to play forward, intercepted by Shaw. He's going to launch it long. He's looking for Barnes, but headed away by Richards. He'll get it back. You are listening to Newcastle against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games. The ball given away to Isak. There's his goal. Alexander Isak. Palace got in possession, and Isak curls one in from the edge of the box. He won't be denied again. Newcastle have their fifth. Newcastle 5, Palace 0.
How rude of interruptual read, by the way. You know what I mean? So selfish that is, isn't it? Scoring when you're halfway through it. He could have waited a couple of seconds. It's a great finish, by the way. I mean, Palace make 3 subs, and within, 30 seconds, give the ball away. Glasner's going absolutely ballistic on the sideline. He is not happy, and rightly so. It's given away so easy. Can't see who gave it away. It's a terrible ball. Richards passes it square. Gahey rolls it into midfield. It's nicked away. I think it's Joel Linnington that gets a toe in. Yeah, it is. It's that unsung hero, Joel Linnington. Great little toe. Falls to Isak, 2 yards outside the D. And he slots it right into the corner. An inch inside the post. A fantastic finish. There you go. That's what you do. That's how you take a penalty from 23 yards out.
Yeah, brilliant. We have these reads to do, as is the way of the world, and you try and do them when you think nothing's going to happen. Palace have the ball on the edge of their area, there's nothing happening, and then they go and do that. Callum Wilson is going to be coming on. I think that might be Isak. He's just earned himself the last half an hour off, I think, with that finish. He'll be going off for sure. Gordon's getting stripped off as well. The change is coming. They've given it away again. They get lucky there, Palace. I think they've just dived on the ball, Gahey, there, just to dive on that ball.
I'm waiting for either you're getting sacked in the morning or can we play you every week chance now. Can't be long.
Maybe.
Or the Olays will be coming out soon.
They will. Palace have it. They're playing it long. They're looking to get Nketiah in behind. I think he'd gone offside anyway. Sure.
I was going to say, Palace are attacking. Do you want to finish your read? Because nothing will happen.
Well, Shaw's just been taken out, and there's another yellow card, I think, coming here. And that's Jefferson Lerma, and Burn. Oh, I'm not sure what that's about. Lerma and Burn going into the book there. So Lerma booked, and then Dan Burn goes in the book.
Dan Burn protesting, maybe?
Well, Anthony Gordon is ready to come on. Willock also about to come on. Joe Willock, who's been out with a concussion problem. He's coming on, and Wilson as well. We're going to see Joe Linton, who is 1 booking away from a 2-game ban, so he will survive another day for that one.
I've seen the replay. I've got no idea why Dan Burn's been booked.
He must have said something, surely. Well, we're going to get a triple substitution here. Gordon is going to replace Murphy, who will make way. Another golden night for Jacob Murphy.
And what a great time. Sorry, Mark. What a great time to come on. 5-0 up. I mean, never been in that situation. Well, I have once, I think. But I've been on the other end of it. When you've been losing and fresh legs coming on and players, have got all the freedom in the world. This is tough for Palace now. They've got to just dig in, grind it out.
Well, Callum Wilson was stripped off and ready to go. I wonder if they've just sat him back down here, just waiting to see what the situation is with Fabian Shaw, who's getting some quite intensive treatment at the moment.
Well, I'm pretty sure Callum Wilson wasn't going on at centre-half.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. But he was there, now he's not there. Here we go. So the first change is going to be made. Joe Linton's night is over. He hasn't realised yet. He's just having a look round St James's Park. Now he looks over, sees his number. I still don't think he's seen his number going up, Joe Linton, yet. Well, it'll be Willock for Joe Linton and Gordon for Murphy.
See, players don't want to come off because you don't get many nights like this. And it's, these sort of nights are a joy to play in.
It was dissent, we understand, for Dan Burn, so he did say something out of turn.
Yeah, because his mate got poleaxed.
Yeah.
And this is what I don't understand sometimes. The referee doesn't give the free kick immediately. So, of course, players are going to scream at the referee because they want a foul, because they see an injustice. Referees have to think about why they've said it sometimes.
Well, it's half-time over on Talksport, and we're about to... where it's Real Madrid 0, Arsenal 0, 3-0 on aggregate. The Gunners lead. Inter Milan 0, Bayern Munich 0. And Fabian Schär is over on the far side getting some treatment. He'll be back on surely in a matter of moments. 5-0. Newcastle lead here. What a night for the Geordies. 4 against Manchester United. They've scored 5 tonight, and they're not done yet either. There's a ball won by Byrne, headed into midfield by Palace. Byrne tries to win it. There could be a break on here for the visitors. That's Daichi Kamada. Races forward. He's got support at centre field. Gets it to Sarr. Tries to play it for Nketiah. He gets it to Kamada. Chance for the cross from out wide. Cross comes in. Pope underneath it, and it didn't get it.
It's a foul.
And it's bundled behind, and the referee's given a corner. And Nketiah was waiting, couldn't get the touch, and Pope is down. And I think Newcastle, like you, Danny Mills, are protesting that their goalkeeper was fouled there.
It's a great little dink to the far post. But it's 2 players just jump into Pope.
It's like Nat Lofthouse charging in on the goalkeeper.
Sarr bashes him. And then Nketiah smacks him. You're going to give a penalty at the other end, but you're not going to give a free kick for that. I know goalkeepers are overprotected sometimes, but referee, rubbish.
Yeah, not the best. It is a corner for Crystal Palace. Big night tomorrow in Europa League, where Manchester United take on Lyon and Frankfurt take on Tottenham, live on Talksport and Talksport 2 respectively. Kieran Trippier is having a word with the official here. So over on Talksport, 0-0. Arsenal have got to the break with their goal intact. They lead 3-0 on aggregate. If you've got the app, you can swipe left and right. Palace are looking for a consolation. Referee blows his whistle. Here comes the corner for Palace. Going to be floated towards the far post. Pope punches
That's
upwards.
another foul, yeah.
And this time he gets the whistle and he is fouled. Well, there you go. It is still 5-0 here. Busy weekend. I was giving you that read, by the way. I never completed it. I should do it now. You're listening to Newcastle against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available right now with no contracts on Now, like Newcastle against Crystal Palace live right now. Search Now Sports for more details.
Although if you're going to sign up now, you probably missed the best part of it.
Maybe.
5-0
There might be some more goals. Ball played forward by Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes dispossessed in midfield. Palace with Nketiah.
I'd expect Palace to come back into it now a little bit. And as bizarre as that sounds, Newcastle will drop off the pace significantly. And it's actually a lot easier to play at 5-0 down than it is at 0-0. Well, there's no pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
The game's gone now. It's almost... the result is done. You know, simple as that. So now even the Palace players can play without pressure because they're not coming back into this game.
Yeah. But it's all right playing at 5-0, isn't it? Where was this at 0-0?
Well, and that's the point. You know, that's suddenly what the manager will say. So, oh, yeah. And that sometimes goes to show you haven't quite got the mentality and the mental strength to do it when it's difficult.
Well, this is a similar free kick from the position in which Murphy delivered for Fabian Schär to score the 4th goal at the end of the first half.
Bet Newcastle defend it better.
Well, Commander is going to take it. Wide right, level with the right side of the penalty area. Looks to play it in now. Floats it towards the penalty spot. There were a host of Palace players there. Ball kept in but turned away by Trippier. And now Tonali leads the charge. Heading out towards halfway. Looking for an out ball. He'll feed it. Trying to find over on the far side Barnes, who's gone to the right hand side now. Ooh, crunching tackle Bruno Guimaraes. That was a strong one there on Wharton, who just looks round. And the referee will brandish a yellow card.
Yeah, slid in, just mistimed it. Never really caught the player. Wharton did him a favour, to be fair. Jumped up immediately. He slides in from a distance because it was quite a big touch from Wharton. It sort of catches his trailing leg. Wharton sees him coming, pulls his leg out of the way, yeah, he can justify a booking for that because it's very, very late, but luckily no contact.
Yeah, and I'm with you there. Wharton could have made a bit of a meal of that, couldn't he? He just got straight up and got on with it. 5-0 if you just joined us. Goals in the first half, Jacob Murphy and Mark Gurhey on goal. Harvey Barnes and Fabian Schur in first half injury time made it 4-0. And then Alexander Isak with a wonderful curling effort from 25 yards out to make it 5. All after Everich Eze missed a penalty in the first half at 1-0. Here come the visitors here. Here is Wharton, edge of the area. Thinks about a shot. Oh, then he falls over his own feet.
Referee, that's a foul.
It is. The ball tripped him up. Here now the ball played forward looking for Isak, who peeled off wide left just to try and stay onside. And Lacroix will get it back to his keeper. And I think Newcastle are now going to make some more changes. And I think now we're going to see Callum Wilson, who's sprinting back to the dugout. He will come on.
He can't wait to get on. He's thinking, oh, come on, just give me a few balls in behind. Can get myself back on the score sheet.
Yeah, he's waiting his 50th Newcastle goal. He's been stuck on 49 for a while. Ball intercepted by Livramento, who's playing really well at the minute. Here's Tonali. And now the ball with Byrne, who finds Gordon. Gordon looks up. Richards in front of him. Richards bundles him over. That's a free kick taken quickly. Livramento has it. Willock down the touchline. Willock gets it. Willock now heading off towards the edge of the Palace box. Backs himself to go past Lacroix. Didn't back himself to cross it on his left foot, though. And now he's short of room. He's still going, and then a slip. And he earns a corner after it goes off Lacroix. And behind for a Newcastle corner.
Quite a few players slipping, isn't there? And I think it is. It's down to, there's been a bit of growth on the grass the last week or so, but a bit of warmth, bit of sunshine, even up here in Newcastle. So you get it's been very dry as well. They're firm pitches, and then all of a sudden you put a bit of water on the top, and it becomes very, very slippery and greasy.
We're about to see Callum Wilson coming on for Harvey Barnes, and Sean Longstaff will replace Bruno Guimaraes, whose yellow card might just cut his night short before it turns into anything more serious than that. Corner for Newcastle, looking for a 6th goal. Still 22 minutes remaining here on Talksport 2. Corner going to be whipped in. It's a good delivery towards the far post, and it's headed away by Richards and out for a corner on the far side that Trippier will sprint across and take. Just having a word with Dan Byrne as he goes past, little and large. Trippier will go over to that far side. Bruno Guimaraes will leave it for him.
I presume they might be flying, but I tell you what, if I was Oliver Glasner, I'd be thinking, you know what, lads, might stick you on the coach on the way home. Although I guess they've got a game Saturday.
They are in action at the weekend. They take on Bournemouth.
That Saturday or Sunday?
I will tell you in a moment.
Sorry, I've asked you a question.
No, I think that is Saturday. Yeah, the 19th.
Yeah, that might be the only reason they fly back. If not, I'd have stuck them on the coach for 7 hours.
Ball played to the edge of the area. Tonali on the volley. He's going to hit it. And it's blocked. And now the break could be on for Palace. Well, the ball was perfect for him. Pope will come out and collect this one to stop the counter. Well, everyone was waiting there for that Paul Scholes finish from the edge of the box. He hit it well, but it was blocked by Palace.
Yeah, not quite. I mean, Tonali's good, but Paul Scholes was exceptional. Used to watch him in training with England doing that. Brian Kidd would just chip balls to the edge of the box, and I swear he would smash the life out of the ball into the side netting every time. Even when he caught one wrong on the end of his toe, and you'd be thinking, we're all sort of there wincing, going, oh my goodness, that's like normally 3 weeks out with a bad ankle. It would still go straight in the corner. Absolute unbelievable striker of the ball.
Here's Livramento. Newcastle are waiting to make the change. Callum Wilson is stripped and ready to go. Here's Anthony Gordon down the left on halfway. Newcastle 5-0 up, going third in the Premier League tonight. 5 points clear of Chelsea in 6th. Great pass from Bruno Guimaraes. Gets it away to Trippier. Trippier now slides it down the channel for Isak. Isak across goal, and Gordon arriving just too late. Henderson down saves. And we'll get the ball back.
Palace have given up, haven't they?
They had a bit of a flurry, didn't they, at the start of the second half, and they just offered nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really, really poor from them. Jason Tindall's on the touchline laughing, smiling. He must be thinking, this is great. Beat Man United.
Foul given away by...
Smashing Palace.
Yeah, foul given away by Schur on Nketiah. And here is the change. Alexander Isak denied a couple of times in the first half, but he wasn't denied when he curled the ball beautifully past Henderson to score on 57. He applauds all 4 sides of the ground, waves to maybe family up high in the stand here, and he's coming on. 21 Premier League goals for him. Job done for Isak.
Yeah, well played, both players. I mean, Downing and referee went to Bruno Guimaraes to say, "Come on, get off the pitch a bit quicker." He went to give the armband to Trippier. What does he think he's doing? Time wasting at like 5-0 up. Come on, ref, read the room.
Yeah.
I hate to use referee and common sense in the same sentence. I know it doesn't often happen, but I mean, it's just ridiculous sometimes, isn't it?
It is. Here's a ball played forward by Palace. Sure is there to defend it. Trippier's under pressure. Will go back to Nick Pope. And Pope launches it downfield towards Callum Wilson. He was beaten in the air, but the second ball bounces its way to Longstaff. He tried to play it forward quickly, couldn't get it. And now the ball played back to Lacroix, who has it inside his own half. He will go long. They're onside over on the far side. They have it down the left here, and Nketiah makes a run into the box. Trippier makes the tackle. Didn't go out of play. It will do this time, and he wins a throw-in. You are listening to Newcastle against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Well, I know sometimes we give him a bit of stick, Jason Tindall, for, his antics sometimes on the sidelines, but fair play to him. The manager's not been here for 2 games. It's clearly been down to him to give the team talks, to continue to set the standards, that have been set at this football club, and he's continued that brilliantly, and clearly it just goes to show what a great working relationship he's got with Eddie Howe. They obviously work very, very closely, an awful lot. For your manager to have to step away and to take over and produce 2 results like this is absolutely magnificent.
Really does set up a huge game, doesn't it, at the weekend? Villa against Newcastle. Villa will start 5 points behind Newcastle. If Newcastle could go there and avoid defeat, really makes it hard for Villa to catch them, doesn't it, with 5 games remaining?
Well, I know it's Newcastle and it's a big game for Aston Villa, but they've just come off a Champions League game against PSG where they gave everything and didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
How will they be affected by that?
Well, here go Newcastle again. They're looking for a 6th goal. Ball with Trippier, feeds it in on the turn. They couldn't quite get it into the area. Well, not only will there be 5 points in front, but Newcastle's goal difference plus 21, Aston Villa's plus 3. So in effect, they're 6 points clear as Nketiah runs it out of play. And Newcastle here are enjoying the efforts their defensive players are making. They're not making life easy for Crystal Palace right now.
No, they're not. Tell you what, it also makes it harder for Manchester City as well, don't forget. Chelsea are only a point behind them at the moment. Villa are only a point behind them as well. City have got to be careful, even to get into the top 5.
Yeah. Well, the fact that it is 5 does help them, doesn't it? Does open up another avenue. But Newcastle, this will be 6 wins in a row now for them in all competitions. They've won the Carabao Cup. They're in the top 3 tonight. And they've got some tough games, but they're going into it at full speed.
But just looking at Man City have got Everton away. That's not going to be easy. One of the last game, probably the last big game, or one of the bigger games at Goodison Park. That's not going to be easy. Then they got Villa. That's a huge game. Man City, Aston Villa, isn't it?
It is. Going to see another Palace change here. And Essay's coming on. And it is going to be Sarr who makes way. So Ismaila Sarr off for the night. And Romain Essay comes on with 15 minutes remaining. You mentioned what a time to come on when you're 5-0 up. I can't imagine it's much fun coming on when you're 5-0 down.
Well, the only thing you can say is it's not my fault. That's all you can. And also,
team player, Danny, team player.
Yeah, there's no I in team. There is a me though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I get your point.
Well, I'm telling you, if you're coming on at 5-0 down, 100% every single player is going, I'm glad I wasn't playing. Simple. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
There's a huge part of you that's thinking, I'm not responsible for what happened.
Yeah, well, it's currently Newcastle 5, Crystal Palace 0. You can get the latest odds over at William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage. Right now, you can get Anthony Gordon to score or assist. That's boosted up to 7-1. Eddie Nketiah to score anytime. That's been boosted to 9-1. That's all thanks to William Hill, 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
I would also think tomorrow, perhaps, Friday morning, there might be quite a few knocks on Glasner's door to say, come on, we've just conceded 5 in both games.
Yeah.
Why aren't I playing? He might have to defend quite a few questions.
Well, this is a team that's gone 10 without defeat away from home in the Premier League, and then they've rocked up to Manchester City and lost by 5-2, and now they're 5-0 down here. And they're lucky in many ways that Newcastle have just taken their foot off the accelerator, because if they kept going here, this could have really run out of control. But they've got the points in the bag. Still 0-0 over on Talksport right now. Arsenal on their way to a place in the Champions League semi-final, but Bayern Munich has scored against Milan, and it's Harry Kane who's got the goal. Well, he got a little bit of abuse in midweek. Munoz is going to get a yellow card here because he's just flattened Anthony Gordon, so it's another yellow card. But that one in the melting pot. Inter Milan 0, Bayern Munich 1. Harry Kane with a goal. 35 minutes remaining there.
Yeah, he missed a good chance, didn't he, in the last game as well? Hit the post from sort of 10 yards out. Yeah, Muniz is just a little bit late. Smashes into Anthony Gordon's torso.
And we are going to have a change. Kieran Trippier is going off.
I mean, what's the point? He's just told him to go off on the far side. What is the point in that?
Yeah.
I know he's not. He's making him run now.
They're saying you should have gone off on the far side. Well, I'll let you have your standing ovation. Kieran Trippier, outstanding in that first half.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely superb. And Kraft comes on just to get a little bit more experience. I mean, why the referee was going to make him walk off and make him walk around half the pitch for the sake of what? 4 or 5 seconds?
Well, Kieran he'd have got a longer ovation, wouldn't he?
He would not have wanted to walk that extra 300 yards.
Job done for Newcastle. 5-0. Isak with a wonderful finish for the 5th. He's here now is Livramento. Gets it to Gordon. Finds Tonali. Gets it away to Kraft, who's over in that right-back spot now. Just a word on Livramento. He's a right-back really by trade, playing at left-back, and he's having a real good run at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really a test defensively this evening. I've done that role as a young player. Young players used to get farmed out to fullback, and have to fill in on the wrong side after not many left-footers in the game. But no, he's a very, very accomplished player.
Ball kept in by Palace. They attack away. Here now is Mitchell into the area. His cross is blocked and it's behind for a corner. And I guess if Jason Tindall has one request of his team, it's don't concede here. Keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, just have a bit of professional pride, and keep going to the very, very end. That's all he really can say, because it's like, we've done our job. We've scored 5. Naturally, you're just going to ease off it a little bit.
It's going to be an in-swinging corner here. Newcastle have got everybody back. Ball floated in. Pope comes, collects it, parries it down. If he looks up, Willock wanted it. Just hangs on to it. Eventually he'll bowl it out to Sandro Tonali. He finds Willock. Gordon's made a good run. Can he find him? He does find Gordon. Gordon down the left. Plenty of Palace defenders coming back. Gordon tries to cut back in field. He's dispossessed. Ball hammered towards him. Ketty does really well to find Kamada, but he turns, has to go back inside his own half, and this was risky. Mitchell gets it back. Mitchell over halfway, looks to send it over the top and Ketty, but here comes Nick Pope, who slams it high into the night sky, and one bounce out of play over on the far side. Jason Tindall applauds his goalkeeper for being alert. 5-0 inside the final 10. You're live on Talksport 2. Don't forget, what a night tomorrow night. Manchester United, Leon, second leg, all level there. Hugh Wozencroft, Alex Crook and Leanne Sanderson, our commentary team. Talksport 2, Frankfurt against Spurs, second leg, all level there as well. Jim Proudfoot and the former England man Dean Ashton. Got the sports bar coming up over on Talksport tonight. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy will be talking you through the night, taking your calls if you want to get involved. 03717223344. Might be some Palace fans want to have a word about that. And a sports breakfast tomorrow, Alan Brazil and Gabby Bonlahor from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, followed of course by White and Jordan on Talksport. If you've got the app, you can take them out and about wherever you go and have a listen. I'm sure the lads on the sports bar will have plenty to say about this Palace performance tonight, and maybe about those 2 penalties as well. Ball played out wide, a chance to get in behind. Is that a foul? No, it's not. Kraft will pick the ball up and brings it forward. You don't like to say it, Danny. It's been a no contest, hasn't it, tonight?
Yeah, the Crystal Palace just haven't turned up. You know, it's simple as that. They've been absent. You know, missing in action, whatever you want to call it. Attitude has been all wrong from the very, very start.
Ball played down the channel. Here's Livramento. Getting some more metres into those legs. Wilson waits with Willock in the middle. Here is Willock. Lays it back to Gordon. Back to Livramento. Turned down a bit of a blind alley. Ball will break to Willock, who's on... No, he won't. I was going to say, I thought he was offside. But again, the flag took an eternity to go up there. Over on the far side, it will be a free kick. There is a Newcastle player that's just gone down here. Is that Livramento?
Yeah, just caught... Might have just opened up his ankle a little bit in that challenge as it came in.
You made a point, even before we kicked off, about the fact that Palace might be 5% off it tonight. You also made a point,
I was wrong. It's about 50%.
Yeah, it probably is. But you also made a point about Newcastle, how many times we come expecting a big performance and teams don't deliver it. They have delivered again tonight, haven't they?
Yeah, I think, was it here? I can't remember. I was here. I can't remember the game. It ended up 3-3. I think it was Liverpool.
Yes, we were here.
Yes. Yeah. They were outstanding in that first half.
Yeah, they were.
They played exactly like they did this evening. Maybe they didn't end up getting the result. You know, Liverpool obviously a much better side than Palace, but they started in the same vein. You know, it was front foot football, trying to get the ball forward. You know, playing with speed and pace, breaking the lines all the time. So this is not something new from Newcastle. This is a accumulation of matches, training, continuously working at it.
Yeah, here's Tonali, gets it wide. It was a bit of an awkward ball for Barnes, but he got something on it, gets it back off Kraft. Here is Tonali. Bit of interchange of passing. Eventually they'll turn the ball over and Palace have it back deep inside their own half. 5-0, 83 on the clock, live on Talksport 2. Mark Wilson, Danny Mills with you here. Up on Tyneside as Palace come forward looking for a consolation, and Ketia lays it back to Wharton. Wharton looks round, there's nothing coming down the right hand side of the field. He goes back to Kamada, the substitutes linking up here.
Yeah, there's a few players don't want the ball now.
Yeah, here's a chance to get the ball into the area. Tonali goes across and screens the danger. Nesse has it, gets it back. Here's Gurhey now, back to Lerma, looks for the give and go. Ball falls to Kamada, chance to shoot. Willett gets a foot in. Palace players getting in each other's way. Falls to Lerma, edge of the box, fires it into the area, and it's miscontrolled and played away and out of danger by Newcastle, who lead courtesy of goals in the first half from Jacob Murphy, a Gurhey own goal, and then 2 goals in added on time for Barnes and Scher before Alexander Isak fired one in. The final change for Oliver Glasner's side, Justin Devaney comes on for Jefferson Lerma, who was in the book early on tonight. He gets a few boos as he makes his way off. Inter have got a goal against Bayern, so it's 1-1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. Inter Milan lead, Bayern 3-2 on aggregate. It's still goalless on Talksport. Real Madrid Arsenal, that'll do the Gunners. They are 3-0 up from the first leg last week.
I just had a quick look at the stats in that game. Real Madrid have not had a shot on target yet. 70% possession, not a single shot on target. That's phenomenal.
It is.
You'd think they'd be shooting from everywhere.
Yeah, you would, wouldn't you? But not happening tonight for them. Their miraculous form in the Champions League might just come up dry this time. Here's Gordon, leaves it for Willock, who tried then to feed it back to Gordon. Here's Wharton coming forward. Gets it away now. Devaney will play it out wide, looking to get in behind Kraft, who slipped but still won the challenge. And the ball finds Tonali, who finds Barnes. And now there could be a chance for a Newcastle attack. Ball over the top, looking for Wilson. Headed away though by Lacroix. And the ball back with Wharton inside the Palace half. Once again they're looking to break. Ball going forward down the left. Here's Kamada. Kamada feeds it to Nketiah. Nketiah into the area. Shot! Side netting.
I think Inter might have scored another one. My app's gone early. Might be a VAR one, but you look at your screen.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Izzy's looking at her screen very, very quickly.
You must have better Wi-Fi at that end of the bench.
Waiting for confirmation. I pay for mine, that's why.
Pay for it. 4 minutes remaining here. Newcastle 5, Palace 0. Newcastle going third in the Premier League, cranking up the pressure. What a game it is. It is 2-1. Danny was right. Inter scored 2 in quick succession to lead Bayern.
2 in 3 minutes they've scored.
Yeah. Still goalless Real against Arsenal. Ball towards Wilson. I think Callum Wilson would have liked to get on a bit early, wouldn't he, when Newcastle was still at it. They also they put the queue on the rack, but not far away.
It looked like he was going to come on, didn't it? And then for some reason, Fabian Schär went down and they decided not to put Callum Wilson on it. And couldn't quite work out why.
Yeah, they still had 3 subs left, didn't they? It wouldn't have made any real impact, would it? But they waited.
And if it was a head injury, you get an extra concussion sub anyhow, don't you?
Yeah. Here's Gordon. Well, he's having to be patient, Anthony Gordon. He's fit again now. He had to make do with a sub appearance against Manchester United. Harvey Barnes got 2. He's got another one tonight.
Well, and that's what happens. Stupid sending off. You know, you find yourself out of the team. You miss the cup final. A team that's pushing for Champions League have won a cup. You know, Anthony Gordon will be thinking now looks an even worse decision to get himself sent off.
Yeah, it is. I'm sure he'll have a big part to play on the run-in as Newcastle look to gain Champions League football again. Here's Willock on the half-turn. Pass just under hit, but wins the challenge. It's out for a throw. And that's been the good thing about Newcastle tonight. Even when the passes have gone awry, they've been fired in and he's just won it straight back. And the ball played forward by Tonali just curls away from Wilson. And it's side-footed away by Henderson. But Newcastle is still winning the 50-50 challenges.
Well, I think Newcastle are summed up by Joel Linton and Jacob Murphy. You know, first and foremost, it's about work rate. It's about hard work. It's about athleticism. And then you let your quality do the talking after that. Those two epitomise what Newcastle are all about.
I think they've used 24 players all season in the Premier League, Newcastle, and that shows they've got a tight group. They all know what's required of them to get in and stay in the team, and they all know what the drill is. They are a well-drilled team, aren't they?
Well, I also say well done to the medical staff and well done to the sports scientists, well done to the coaches. I think there are a lot of teams that have suffered an awful lot of injuries this season, and a lot of that has to come down to training.
Yeah.
You know, that has to take a huge responsibility for that. You know, I think a lot of players are under-trained.
Ball into the area. Pope comes to collect it. He has it. We're inside the final 90 seconds here, the 90 minutes. I think Palace and their fans, and credit to them, there's not many left, if any, up high over there. They'll be hoping there's not too much added on time.
Well, there must be on buses, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think what the last train is. I think they might have missed it. No, seriously, I think...
I know.
Because I know that the last train from York, I think, is 10 o'clock. And it's a good hour 20 from here on the train, so they must be going on buses, I'd have thought.
That'll be a long way home tonight.
Well, exactly. The buses aren't going to leave early, are they?
No. Bournemouth at home, Arsenal away to come before that semi-final date with Aston Villa at Wembley in the FA Cup. That'll be live on Talksport, of course. What about the Championship? Danny, I've not got your thoughts on that. Who's going to go? Well, Sheffield United appear to have blown it, don't they, late in the day?
Yeah, well, obviously, it was a surprise loss. Obviously, you thought Leeds had blown it. And then, of course, Sheffield United lose to Oxford, you know, which was a big surprise. And then Sheffield United don't win again, and all of a sudden...
slip, chance for one, is it on goal? Pope comes out, and then there's a slip from Nketiah. Talk about how's you look. The ball from Wharton to Nketiah is on the penalty spot, unmarked, and he's slipped over with a goal at his mercy. 5 added on minutes here at St James's Park, live on Talksport 2, and Eddie Nketiah's just had a gilt-edged chance, and he fell over.
It's like an ice rink out there, isn't it? It's unbelievable. The amount of players that have slipped over this evening. Wharton did Pope a favour, by the way, because he
could have gone down there.
He could have left the leg, gone down, and the referee would have probably had to give a penalty.
Yeah. Here now goes Gurhey.
Just on the champion. Oh, wait.
Well, the chance on the edge of the area here. Palace trying to work their way through. Ball fired there by Nketiah, and Pope just stood tall, let the ball hit him, and it bounces away. And it's back with Palace, who are looking for a late consolation here. Chance from the edge of the box. Kamada's shot's blocked. Gordon will go chase it down. Ball's played back, and here is Lacroix nearer the halfway line. Palace try and lay it on to get, well, scant consolation, but that move comes to nothing. And now the break definitely is on for Gordon. If he wants to put the foot down here, he's only got Richards in front of him. Wilson peels off to the right. Gordon goes for the curler, didn't quite curl it enough. And it's just wide of the far post.
Yeah, it's opened up his foot and just blocked it right a little bit. Didn't get the bend that he needed, but almost another breakaway. But yeah, Championship especially, I think you'd expect Leeds and Burnley to go up now. Burnley have this in unbelievable ability to grind out results. So I think they will go up. Obviously, Friday's huge.
Well, it is. We've got Derby Luton, so that's a massive game at the bottom. That kicks things off at 12:30. Then that's on Talksport 2. Then we're at Coventry against West Brom. Two teams fighting it out for the playoff spots. Then we've got Sheffield United Cardiff at 5:30 live and exclusive on Talksport. And we round off today Oxford against Leeds. Leeds looking to cement their place in the top two and a Premier League return.
And of course that's 8 o'clock. So by then
they will know.
If Sheffield United don't beat Cardiff, obviously Cardiff fighting for their lives down at the bottom, it's almost done and dusted. It is at that stage.
And bearing in mind on Monday, Burnley Sheffield United live on Talksport 2.
I mean, Leeds probably could be promoted Monday, I think, at the earliest, is it?
They could be. Could be. You'll hear it all on the Talksport network. Make sure you've got the app downloaded. Swipe left and right between Talksport and Talksport 2. It has been a demolition job tonight for Newcastle. They thrashed Manchester United here at the weekends, and they have battered Palace into submission here with 5 goals unanswered.
Palace have been terrible, but Newcastle have been brilliant. Yeah. Let's not take anything away from Newcastle. They have destroyed Crystal Palace, who have had no answers.
Well, here they have a chance. Kamada comes forward. He's looked okay since he came on, Kamada. This has had a bit of go forward about him. Gets it away on the far side.
We came on at 4-0 and it was 3 seconds later it was 5, and then like I said, it's Newcastle have taken their foot off the gas, and it's quite easy to play at 5-0 down. There's no pressure. No expectation either.
No. Here's Munoz. Will get reaction to come from Oliver Glasner and Jason Tyndall, who will be in charge at Villa Park on Saturday. Ball whipped in from the Palace left. Schur is there to clear it away. And Palace are having more of the ball laid on here, but they're not doing a great deal with it. Ball out of play over on the far side. Of all the goals as they go on Saturday, with Adrian and the team on Talksport as ever. Palace looking for a late consolation. 4 of the 5 added on minutes have now been played. Ball floated in. Byrne just volleys it away. Lacroix will get it back under pressure from Wilson. Plays it into the edge of the area. Willett went down. Referee's happy to let play go on. Then Tonali gets upended and that'll be a free kick. And we're inside the final 60 seconds of the 5 added on minutes.
Not quite sure why the referee put 5 up. I think no one would have complained at 3, would they? Certainly Palace players wouldn't have done.
No. Sports Bar underway. Talksport 10 o'clock tonight. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Get your calls in to reflect on all the action tonight. 03717223344 the number. You can also send a voice note via WhatsApp to that number to get in touch.
I think there could be a few "Where are you, Simon Jordans?"
No, you said that, not me. Well, still 0-0, Real Madrid Arsenal.
Well, Palace have been a bit like Simon this evening, haven't they? All bark, no bite.
Well, I don't think they've barked particularly loudly either, have they?
Before they did, coming in with a record of in a great run of form, talked themselves up a bit.
Yeah, here's Gordon. Foul given. No, that's the final whistle. Newcastle up to 3rd in the Premier League as they close in on a Champions League return. Not content with the Carabao Cup. They want European football at the elite level to go with it. Jacob Murphy got them underway. His 8th goal of the season. He fired in from an acute angle to beat Henderson. Then probably the deciding moment of the match. Nick Pope, after a lengthy VAR intervention, was adjudged somewhat harshly to have given away a penalty that Eberici Eze made an absolute mess of. The sudden run-up, he got it all wrong and he rolled it harmlessly to Pope's left, who couldn't believe it as he fell on it and picked the ball up. Mark Gurhey turned into his own net for the 2nd time this season after good work from Harvey Barnes. Going in to add it on time, it was 2-0. Barnes himself on the breakaway raced away and lashed a shot in the far post, 3-0. And just before the break, Murphy with another assist made it 4-0 after Shirt turned in the header. There has been a goal, by the way, over on Talksport, and Arsenal surely now are going into the semi-finals of the Champions League. Saka with a goal. Missed a penalty early on. That wasn't pretty either, but he has scored now. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil over on Talksport. They're 4-0 up on aggregate. It was 4-0 here at the break as well. And Alexander Isak with a wonderful curling 25-yard shot after good work winning the ball back from Joel Linton. Palace huffed and puffed second half, but never really threatened Nick Pope's goal. Newcastle third in the Premier League, and Danny Mills seemingly destined for a return to the Champions League.
Oh, Newcastle absolutely outstanding this evening. They were magnificent from start to finish. I mean, almost blighted by... OK, you could say Nick Pope made a slight mistake. When he came out, tried... Well, he did. He went to punch it properly. Just caught the ball. Bumped into Richards. And after a very, very lengthy delay, the referee gave a ridiculous penalty. Never a penalty in a million years. Absolutely no chance. Fortunately, Eza missed it for Crystal Palace in Newcastle's favour. If that goes in, it can be a different game. Who knows? And you have to say at that point, not what Newcastle have earned, and the referee could have easily spoiled it with a really bad decision. But Newcastle stuck to their guns and their way of playing, and they were just absolutely superb. They tormented Crystal Palace this evening. Absolutely tormented them. Palace summed up by Eze's penalty. Poor.
Very poor indeed. Right, before we let you go, Danny, we now need to pick our player of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
So, Danny, who are you going for as our player of the match? I'm guessing it's someone who played in black and white.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, they were absolutely outstanding this evening, Newcastle. Could pick several players, but I've got to give it to Murphy. He was absolutely brilliant. That first goal, I wasn't convinced at first look. Seen the replay, there's only one thing he's got in his mind when he gets played in down that right-hand side. He smashes it into the near post. Top corner of the net. Absolutely magnificent. Had a hand in two other goals as well. He was superb this evening. So underrated, I think. He was man of the match by some distance.
That was our player of the match with today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Maybe the job over on Talksport is not quite yet done. Vinicius Junior's got a goal back for Real Madrid. 22 minutes remaining there. 1-1 on the night. 4-1 on aggregate to the Gunners. You can follow it right now live over on Talksport. Don't forget as well, coming up tonight, the Sports Bar. You might want to have your say on Newcastle racing towards the Champions League spots. Palace poor. Can they turn their season round at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time? Get your calls in to Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy to reflect on tonight's action. 03717 223344. Coming up next, it is Cult Heroes here on Talksport. So our thanks to Danny. Safe journey home to you, Danny. Newcastle dominant here at the weekend. They've been even better tonight. They've brushed aside Palace and gone third in the Premier League, scoring 5 in the process. It ends at St James's Park. Newcastle 5, Crystal Palace 0.